Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing this fine Saturday evening?
Oh, splendid. Pretty good. Okay.
Hold on. We start off with splendid, then we downgraded to pretty good, then we downgraded to okay in the matter of 10 seconds. How did that happen?
What can I tell you? We're running the gamut of emotions here.
Is it because of the Islanders' recent game against the Arizona Coyotes that we're running the gamut of emotions, or what is that, Grumpy? Islanders related or not Islanders related?
I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts before Christmas, and there's a death in the family today. This is the last day that I'm going to be doing this podcast from the legendary couch.
Oh, God. So you're going to be mixing things up. You're getting a new couch then, Grump.
Yeah, I won't have it tomorrow. I'll have it midweek. I'll have a new couch. But this couch is, it's going bye-bye tomorrow.
Well, Grump, I didn't know. So the Islanders had determined to go ahead and pick up your couch. Is that what they're saying?
That's what we've heard. After the showing that they had against the Arizona Coyotes, they wanted a broken down couch to go with their broken down playing style.
Well, I thought they wanted to go ahead and put it next to Fischler's little exhibit, but fair enough.
Yeah, probably not.
But welcome for everyone who's new to the channel. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday, as close to 8 p.m. as we can get it. As close to 8 p.m. as I can get it. Let me rephrase that.
It's never been 8 o'clock. I don't think ever.
No, it used to be 8.
When you had guests, it used to be 8 o'clock. But now the guests are trained to just be late. So it's like, yeah, sorry.
But yes, this is an All Islanders podcast. It happens twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays @/near 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. We also, for those of you who enjoy the content. So if you're a returning listener or first time, if you enjoy the content, the best way to let us know is by leaving a thumbs up. Let's Grumpy and I know you like what we're doing. And also, I think it helps the algorithm, Grump, is at least what I've been told.
That's what we've been told. TJ's been told that it helps the algorithm.
Absolutely. Well,
it does help the algorithm, though.
Let me ask you this, Grumpy. Now, tonight we've got, before we start talking about the game against the Arizona Coyotes, we're going live Saturday. The Islanders are playing the Vegas Golden Knights here shortly, probably within about an hour and a half. So, important game for the Islanders. They'll be on the back end of a back-to-back situation. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what you saw from our recent performance against the Coyotes. I would say we had come off a time period where Tuesday, I thought we looked really strong against the Boston Bruins. I really liked the effort and the performance that we had. And Friday was anything but that against the Arizona Coyotes, Grumpy.
Yeah, I thought we were okay early. We went up 2-0 on a couple of weak goals, honestly, from the Coyote goaltender. I thought he struggled all night. Mm-hmm. But then, they got a power play. They scored a goal just before actually, it was right after the power play expired, just before the end of the first period. And in the second period, they dominated us. They look so much better than we are. I'm like, what is going on? It's hard to get a feel for this team. It's frustrating. I mean, going into the season, we said we'd be competing like for the last playoff spot, right?
Yeah.
And certainly that's the way it's come down now. If you I realize it's still early. We're not even at the halfway point. We're close, but we're not at the halfway point in this season. But we're kind of where we thought we were going to be. Right now, we're just clinging on to that final playoff spot. And there's teams that are probably more talented than we are below us in the standings that we're going to have to watch out for. I mean, Sorokin was not as good the last couple of games he's played, actually. Seems like his play's kind of leveled off a little bit.
You're kind of jumping all over the place, but let's talk a little bit about the Arizona Coyotes games before we start talking large picture items, which are usually for the middle portion, Grumpy, once we make our point. But, we're talking Arizona Coyotes. I thought when we went up 2-0. We were up 2-0 early. I was like, well, that's it. We're going to win this game.
I thought
I
so.
really
Too.
felt that we were, we score on the very first shot. And it's funny because you look at how some people who, are part of the Islanders media cartel, they say, wow, Sebastian Aho, let's one rip. And you look at the actual shot and you're like, oh, hold on a second. Because, I stream all the games, so I'm a little behind. So I'll get the update first on Twitter before I'll actually see it. And I watched it as I saw the tweet, what a ripper or a huge shot. And I looked at it, it was just like a weak shot just missed by the goalie. And I figured, okay, great. We've got a goalie who lets in 2 goals. The first one should have had back, and then that Barzal redirection that slowly found a way to trickle into the net, giving Matt Barzal his 4th goal on the season. I thought we were in the driver's seat, and I looked at yesterday's game as we found a way to lose, which is not something we've done often this year. We found a way to lose yesterday.
Against they're not a good team.
Yeah.
They swept the season series on us, and they're just not a good team. I thought the first time we lost 1-0, their goaltender was really, really good. And it was just like 1 goal against Sorokin that cost us that game. I believe it was Sorokin in that day. And I expected us to blow them out, particularly how well we played against Boston. And we just came out, and the second period, we were just so flat. We even got a benefit. They scored 2 goals in 19 seconds to go up 3-2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we're in trouble. Did he call a timeout? They had a problem with the door, which stopped the game for 10 minutes, gave the Islanders a chance to regroup. Who knows what would have happened if that wasn't the case. But we kind of got our feet back under us a little bit. We came back, we tied the score. And then in the third period, they get an early goal. And that's pretty much all she wrote. Like I said, I'm just frustrated with the performances by the majority of the team. Is it me, or has Anders Lee gotten like really old since last year? He's just not the same player.
He started
He was average before. He's below average now.
To answer your question, Grump, I don't know. He's a guy who benefits a lot where if there's loose pucks, he could tap them in front of the net. He's a garbage man and a damn good one at that. But that's kind of what he is, right? I don't expect anything else out of him. The Islanders, by the way, we found out in yesterday's game too. The Islanders defense core leads the NHL in goals.
Yeah.
22 goals by our defenseman this season. Leads the NHL. Just let that sink in. The reason we have talked about why we look so unstructured and why we were hemorrhaging chances going back towards our net, we're giving up easy opportunities to score and these high danger chances is because I think, with the system we've got, our forwards are not talented enough to create offense by themselves. We have to pour on added pressure from a defense group, which puts them out of position in transition, and it gets them in the mindset where they always need to be worrying about breaking out of the zone, and we struggle, and that's why we're giving up goals. That's why our defense looks, I think, so hideous, because they're so focused on we have to provide points, because in goals specifically, because our forward group is not talented enough to do it.
They're terrible. Our forward group is terrible. Terrible. I'll be interested to see where we are at the 40 game mark, but Andy Francis, your buddy, was talking about 7, 8, 20 goal scorers. I don't see it. Maybe Dobson.
Dobson, I think, is definitely hitting 20 goal plateau.
Brock Nelson, maybe Anders Lee. Who else?
We have players on pace to hit 20 goals this season.
How many guys have 10 goals?
Okay, we're not halfway through the season.
How many guys have 10 goals on this team?
2.
Hold
on. We're not halfway through the season, Grump. We've only played 31 freaking games. You're acting like we've at fucking game 41.
When was the last time that Zach Parise scored?
Zach Parise's got 9 goals this year.
Kyle Palmieri?
Zach Parise probably is going to hit maybe 20 goals this year.
Okay.
Again, he'll still be a guy that's around 35 points, but he can hit just to defend the point that he made, right? There is the possibility still.
Okay.
Jean-Gabriel Pageau's got 7 goals. Oliver Wahlstrom has 7 goals. Can you see Oliver Wahlstrom managing to string together 13 goals over the next 50 games? I think
Going
so. I think that's a possibility. Anthony Pavilla has 6 goals. Paul Mary has 6 goals. Josh Bailey has 5. Maybe Josh Bailey's going to hit the 20-goal plateau this season.
going into the third period, Oliver Wahlstrom played like 5 minutes yesterday.
Yikes.
I mean, they because so many special teams. Well, why isn't he on the special teams? Now, when they came out there in the extra man, to Lane Lambert's credit, he had Oliver Wahlstrom out there. But you got to find more ways to get that kid on the ice. We're just offensively challenged. We just are.
You want to know what the odd thing is? I don't know whose broadcast you watch, Grumpy, but I watched the Arizona Coyotes broadcast. Did you watch the Islanders or the Coyotes?
I watched the Islanders yesterday.
I've been trying to watch a lot of the other teams' broadcasts just for the short time period. The first time we play them to kind of get what I feel what their feeling of the season is and how things are going. Now, are you familiar, Grumpy? Arizona Coyotes 10-14-4 so far this year. Not off to a great start, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a rocky start.
Yes.
28 games played. Guess how many home games they've played, Grump?
I think 5, right?
Yesterday was their 7th home game.
7 home
The Arizona Coyotes went on a 14-game road trip. And you know how many times we heard about that on the podcast? Once. They said, the Arizona Coyotes have a good record at home. They're happy to be back from a 14-game road trip. They were on the road from November the 5th until December the 9th.
They have
a month.
So they have a ready-made excuse why they will not make the playoffs.
Well, I was about to say,
what were the announcers? We're not talking about that.
They were not talking about excuse. They mentioned it once that they didn't even mention the road trip. I had to look that up. They mentioned that their record was like their record at home. They mentioned the record at home, and I was doing it in my head. I'm like, well, hold on. I'm like, we're at game 28. And it's only like they said they had played 6 games at home. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I went to check the record. I went to check, their schedule, right? They started off the season with a 7-game road trip. They had 4 games at home. Then they played 14 back on the road. It's funny. Like when you look at how people try to position arguments, they played 21 of the first 25 games on the road. How often do we hear across the league, or I didn't hear that once. They didn't mention that once. Again, I had to do the math on it to actually pull it up. But the thing that sparked my interest, they said their home record was actually pretty good. I was like, but it was so few games, it didn't make sense based off the record.
And they have so few talented players. I'm like I said, I was watching the second period, and I'm like, wow, they look like they got some talented players on this team. And then they're like, well, half the team is unrestricted free agents. And, they're like rebuilding from the studs up. Clayton Keller, Chikrin, and one other guy, they said, are the core pieces. I'm like, oh, I mean, yikes. But at least they don't have to worry about selling out the arena when it's only, 5,000 seats? You're going to sell that out every night.
I'm sorry, 6 games. They played the first 6 games on the road too. So the first 24 games, they played 20 of those on the road. I just think it's odd. Like, I didn't hear any excuse, not a one excuse. That's why they're playing a poor game. That's why they're playing a poor season. That's why they're struggling this year. Not one of those. 20 of the first 24 games on the road. Yeah, maybe it's because Arizona's a consistent loser.
Well, like I said, you should never make excuses for why your team's not good. We didn't buy into the excuses last year.
I'm just saying, though, it was different hearing their announcing crew not freaking towing that line of bullshit. That's why they're struggling. Before they played the Islanders, they were 3-2-1 at home. I was like, that doesn't make sense through 2020. It was like 27 games up until that point. So, to find out that they've played so many on the road and so many in a row on the road that was the odd thing. I mean, you see here from November the 5th, Grumpy, Washington, all the way until December the 7th, all on the road.
Wow. So we played them, it seemed like eons ago.
Yeah. But they've been on a road trip. Yeah. They were three. That was their 3rd game on the road trip, but they still had like 9 more left to go on the road. After our game, or 10 more to go. I'm sorry.
And their record shows what it is with a bunch of losses, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, like, I just think I never would have known that unless I did a little research because they weren't overly talking about it. I never heard that across the league. And maybe I'm oblivious. Maybe I live in the Islanders bubble and all I pay attention to is, the Islanders and teams that are up towards the top that really compete against us. The Coyotes don't have a huge fan base. So maybe that's why I don't, I wasn't necessarily privy to it. But a 14-game road trip, that was a game where bounces, I don't think necessarily bounces. I'm not blaming bounces on the loss, but it was an odd one. There's a lot of pucks that took odd and funny bounces, and that didn't help benefit us.
Yeah, that's not why we lost yesterday. We were out hustled.
I'm just saying it didn't help us, right?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I thought that Sorokin had a weak game yesterday. One shot he didn't even see. But other than that, I thought he was not particularly strong yesterday. Matter of fact, I think he struggled the last number of games he's played. He's still making tremendous saves, but he's not been the same guy he was earlier in the year. You're going to go through your ups and downs. Right now is a downtime for him, which we said, what's the team going to be like when Sorokin or Varlamov, their play drops a little bit? How are we going to perform? Well, we're seeing that not very well.
I wouldn't even say when their play drops a bit because I still think there's nothing Sorokin could have done differently on any of those really goals against. It wasn't like, wow, that's a weakie or he wished he would have had that one back. You're talking about deflections that happen point blank and bounce off a skate and trickle in the net. There's nothing he can do about that, Grump.
Yeah, but it seems like he's falling. He's a little bit deep in the net. I mean, our defense has not been great. I thought Romanoff before he went off yesterday was terrible again. He's regressed, if that's even possible. Seems like he'll have a couple of good games and then a string of bad ones. Like I said, he's still young, but still, it's like, I don't know. Here's something I found distressing. The Islanders did not bring an extra defenseman on this road trip.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
And I'm like, wow, shouldn't you figure you'd bring at least one extra defenseman to have 7 on a long road trip? Are we going to hear if the Islanders don't perform well on this road trip, the reason why they might not make the playoffs is because they had a long road trip?
And the reason I went hammering, because you talk about excuses, right? That's the reason I went hammering about that with Arizona. No excuses. I listen to all these other telecasts. Never hear excuse number one out of any of these teams. Didn't hear from Boston. Didn't hear from the Devils. Didn't hear anything from Arizona. Listen to some really good teams. Listen to some really bad teams. Didn't hear any excuses. They just talk about what's going on. It's kind of refreshing. But I'm like, it's for anybody who tries to say that road trip, right? That should be debunked. That's, what I mean. I don't think there's anybody who could ever make that as a point, or there's no validity behind it. And tonight's a big game for the Islanders. It is. I'm not saying it's like, oh man, there is, but there aren't, right? There's no such thing as a must-win game this early. But it's one of those where you look at a lot of teams in the Metro around us are winning. A lot of teams in our division around us are winning. We're on a 3-game losing streak on a really, really tough portion of our schedule. That Arizona team was supposed to be the one team I felt very confidently about that we were going to beat. We lost to them, and we found a way to lose to them. And it's like, I don't think we have another easy game upcoming until Colorado, just because Colorado was so banged up. And that's not really even an easy game, I would say.
Yes, I don't think Colorado's as easy as you think it is. I just don't. I mean, you've been trying to say, oh, that's an automatic win. I don't see that. They're still Colorado.
I expect us to win against Colorado. Let me rephrase it. That is an expectation. I expect us to beat Colorado.
Okay. I expected us to lose against Jersey, and I expected us to beat Arizona. So we're kind of where I thought we were going to be at this particular portion. We got an extra point off of Boston. I didn't expect us to be any great shakes on this road trip, and we're seeing it right now.
Devils losing again today. Devils on a little bit of a slide, right? Yep. When you start off so hot, you're going to go through time periods where you go through lulls. But right, the Islanders were the first team to, I guess, to pierce the armor of the New Jersey Devils. If they lose tonight, they'll be on a 5-game skid. It's not the end of the world for them, but still.
And that's what happens when you build up a big point lead. You can absorb a losing streak a little bit better. But, when you're struggling or you're in the middle of the pack and you have a big losing streak, you're in trouble. You're on the outside looking in.
Right now, right? You've got the Hurricanes are leading the Stars. That's going to head in the third period. 3-2. Capitals are leading the Maple Leafs. They're up 3-2 heading into the third period. You've got a situation where the Rangers are leading the Flyers 3-2 heading into the third period. It's just a lot of the teams around us in this Metro division is unbelievably tough. If
Very.
you lose games and you get too far behind too early, you're going to be in a little bit of a hole. You just don't want to have to be playing catch up. That's mainly the point. I talked originally about, hey, you can't forget, you can't write off Washington. They're right with us. We didn't take advantage of the easy portion of the schedule we had earlier before this tougher portion comes up. And maybe we're going to go on a 6-game winning streak here to close off this road trip. I don't know. Probably not, but maybe.
To me, what we're seeing is a team that works hard the vast majority of the time, sells out, giving everything they got, incorporating the defense and the offense, but just not talented enough. I mean, that's where I feel we're at. Is one player going to make that much of a difference? I don't think so. I just don't think we're good enough. And now we're kind of getting exposed. I was pleasantly surprised with how well we played earlier in the year. And now we're kind of seeing, everything kind of evens out over the 82 games, right? Now we're kind of seeing where we're at. How do we feel? We're a middle of the pack team. Do you want to reinvest in that? I don't.
Wasn't it crazy when everybody was screaming from the rooftops? Certain fly-by-night people couldn't stop reveling in how much excitement they had. Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. And we wish we're wrong. We really do. But here's the thing. We talked about the sustainability of certain items. It's going to be really tough when you're conceding an ungodly amount of high danger scoring chances to other teams night in, night out to continue to win games. It's just really tough to do that. It's a tough ask. I think, what I don't like about this is, Sorokin, so unbelievable. I still think he's been playing good hockey. Sure, maybe he stays a little far in his net, whatever. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you get shelled. I think he's lost his last 4 starts, hasn't he, Grumpy, Sorokin?
Yes.
And, it's going to be how long before ungrateful Islander fans start pointing the finger at him? And I will say, ungrateful Islander fans start pointing the finger at him. He's the best damn player on this team.
We need to re-sign Varlamov to another contract extension.
I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before that type of stuff happens. When you start hearing that from the fans, you start hearing that from the people, you start hearing that from people online. Oh man, Sorokin playing poorly is the reason we're not winning games. He should have had that one. That was the weakest game I've ever seen from Sorokin. He's got to do better than that. Sorokin's had an unbelievable year. He's not going to play every single night like he's damn Dominic Hasek. It's just not sustainable.
It's the fact so many of our veterans are just invisible for the most part. Half the team just invisible for the most part. Show some effort, just not enough talent. I mean, they're older. Like I said, it's just frustrating. And it just, for me, shows the failure of Lou Lamoriello to upgrade the team in the offseason. The last number of off seasons, honestly. He should have been transitioning. He just refused to do it.
I don't think we would have to play this system as open if we had better forward talent, better talent up to the forward group. That's the point. That's why when people say, well, our goals are up, why does it matter who they're coming from? Our goals are up, right? It's just our defense is sucking. Well, it's because we're putting more pressure on our defense, have a more offensive-minded approach. If your forward group is more talented, you could still have your defense actually play their position and play their actual personnel role instead of asking them to say, I'm going to ask you to abandon what you've done before in the past. We've always talked about this transition to Lane Lambert needed to be a happy median. We didn't want to play all defensive hockey, and I didn't want to play Doug Weight hockey. Right now, we're playing Doug Weight hockey, but with better defensive personnel and much better goaltending. This is Doug Weight hockey, ladies and gentlemen. It is Doug Weight hockey. You cannot convince me otherwise, Grump.
Yeah, but our forward group was better when Doug Weight was a coach. A lot of the same players, but a much younger team, much better legs.
I think we're similar. No, I think forward group wise, I think maybe we're a little better under Lane Lambert. Matt Barzal is a much better forward than John Tavares is offensively. You can't for this style, Matt Barzal is the quintessential forward for a style like this, where John Tavares is not.
He just has no wingers.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, though. I say he's an upgrade, right? Jean-Gabriel Pageau is an upgrade over whoever the hell was our third-line center 6 years ago.
Wasn't it Brock Nelson?
No, Brock Nelson was the number 2 guy.
6 years ago, he wasn't.
Yes.
Absolutely wasn't. He was a third-line center. Franz Nielsen was our second-line center. It was Tavares, Nielsen, Nelson, and Cizikas.
Okay, however it rolled out, right? I think that Jean-Gabriel Pageau, today Jean-Gabriel Pageau is better than the back then Brock Nelson, and Brock Nelson today is much better than the Franz Nielsen was at that time period. All I'm saying is this: I think our personnel is better, but this almost I get Doug Waite vibes from it. I really do. Our defense is not as oblivious as they were under Doug Waite. I'll give him that. But I'm just like, we're conceding chance after chance after chance because we want to gamble every opportunity we get a chance to. We want to be so ready to leave the zone. We kind of start to skirt our defensive responsibilities. And that's like, right, that's not good for a postseason team to play like either.
I think that teams are able to have sustained offensive zone time against us.
Yeah.
Which we have not seen in the recent past. I mean, I think that's been a big issue. I mean, last night with Arizona, they just controlled the zone. It's like, where's everybody? Like, we're not playing positional hockey in the defensive end. You know, a lot of it has to do with Salo being in there. And Romanov is just terrible positionally. It almost doesn't matter who his partner is.
I don't think much of him. Maybe he can grow into something. He's not there yet. What you watching? Like, let me know when pregame starts coming on, Grumpy, or whatever that is, because we want to make sure we could obviously kind of coincide it with the time the Vegas game starts. But I know you got it on over there. You know, I tell you, it's a disappointing loss. But the way the Islanders have played this year, right? For whatever reason, they've been losing to a lot of the teams you wouldn't expect them to lose to, and they play their best hockey against some of the most talented teams in the league. They play up to their competition and down to their competition.
Yeah, I don't know. We just seem like we're a Jekyll and Hyde team, honestly. We can look so good one night and then just so bad the next night.
Is that not how Doug Waite's system looked?
No. We were, when we were scoring a lot of goals, we were giving up boatloads. We're not giving up boatloads of goals this year.
The only reason we're not giving up boatloads of goals is because we have much better goalies. We don't have Thomas Greiss and Yaroslav Halak in net. We've got Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov.
Okay. I'm just, like I said, I know why they're doing it, but it's obviously not going to work. I thought maybe early on when we started beating some good teams, of course, an undermanned Colorado team, beating the Rangers twice, beating Toronto. I'm like, okay, beating Carolina. I'm like, maybe this can work. But the deeper we get into the season, the more we see that it's not going to work.
And right now, right, we're missing Adam. Adam Pelech was placed on the IR since our last podcast. So, well, everybody said, "Whoa, don't play Dr. TJ." You could tell when a guy over there could not stand up. He was going to miss some time with that concussion. He's missed some time. Who knows how long Adam Pelech is going to be out for?
I think he has a severe concussion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To go on IR like that, it's not, I mean, because how long's he been out? Week plus, right? Usually you're over concussion by then. I mean, he was knocked for a loop. Absolutely was. I mean, but that's not the reason why. He wasn't any great shakes this year either.
Not having him hurts us.
Yeah, it does, but it's not like Tampa Bay losing Hedman.
And here's the thing, right? Every single team is dealing with injuries. So I'm not using it as an excuse as to why we're struggling, but he helps. He obviously helps in the lineup.
What it means is that Salo is playing when he wouldn't even sniff the lineup otherwise.
And it's funny. We talk about Robin Salo. Do you remember how at the beginning of the year, Robin Salo started out in the NHL and Sebastian Aho was down there in Bridgeport? Do you remember this?
Yes. Well, I think it was only for one game, though, wasn't it?
few games, 2 or 3. I think I've come to the conclusion as to what happened. I think, and I couldn't tell you why I was thinking this way and what led me along this path, but remember over the offseason, we were talking about how weird it was. The Islanders were they were so nuanced in talking about, oh, he got a DUI, but the alcohol limit you can have there in Sweden is only 0.1%, blood alcohol content. So, he's in a situation where he was technically, he went ahead and violated that, but it was only 0.1%. Do you remember they talked about that and so specifically in the offseason?
I do remember
I
that.
think the reason he started out the year in Bridgeport was because of punishment.
No, I think
I don't
because
think they ever had an intention to play Robin Salo. Ever, ever, ever. I think the reason Aho started off the year in Bridgeport was a punishment. Tell me that does not fit Lou Lamoriello's MO. Guy does something against the law. Guy gets in trouble outside. We're going to punish you. You serve your little time in a timeout corner, and you come back.
but Sal looked pretty good in the preseason.
That's my point. They did not ever have any intention on playing Salo.
But Sal looked pretty good in preseason.
So did Kiefer Bellows and other players in preseason. They never had intentions to play them, though.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but that's okay. I can play conspiracy theorist with the best of them. No problem.
So you don't think I'm just saying it fits what Lou Lamoriello's MO is. That's all.
I thought
it's an aside. It doesn't necessarily relate to anything, but I was thinking about that today. I was wondering if anybody else shares that thought process.
I think the fact that they went bent over backwards to make it seem like it was a nothing burger told me that he was in their plans.
Yes.
Because they usually bury guys who aren't in their plans. So Aho was in the plans.
That's what I said.
That's why I don't think it was punishment. I think Salo had a bad game or two when the season started, and that's when they went with the more veteran, experienced Aho. That's what I think. But hey, we can go with your theory. That's cool. They wanted to punish him for drinking the night before and sleeping it off, but he was still drunk the next day. We're going to punish him. That's fine.
I think that they always intended on playing Aho from the start. That's who they had penciled in. That off-season antic got him placed in a timeout square, but they always planned on using him, which is the reason why they were so adamant about teaching us about Swedish blood alcohol content laws when you're driving and DUI rules over there, because he was always going to play. They never were going to do that for a guy like Anatoly Golashev, Kiefer Bellows, etc. That's what I mean by it. But I want to move along from it. I just was thinking about it, and I was curious if anybody else had that same thought that had crossed their head, or if that maybe makes sense to them, because it made sense to me today. Islanders tonight, though, big game, Grump, against the Vegas Golden Knights. What are you expecting to see from us today?
I think we're going to win tonight. Don't call me crazy. I think we're going to win tonight. I think we're going to come out and play hard, and I think we're going to beat Vegas. I just have a feeling. Now, I could be totally wrong, but that's what I feel. I just feel like we're going to beat Vegas. We always play Vegas well, always.
I'm looking at it too. Vegas has had some really close run-ins with the teams from the Metro Division. And that's one of the things they had mentioned too about Arizona. They had played the Metro Division extremely well. Looks like Vegas has played. They've struggled a bit against those teams. I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. It looks like they've struggled a bit against those metropolitan teams, Grump.
Yeah. I just think we always play them well. I just have a feeling I was going to win tonight. Lose to Arizona, beat Vegas. Let's go with that.
Lost to the Flyers. Beat the Flyers, lost to the Rangers, lost to the Penguins, 1-goal game difference against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've been playing some really tough games against those Metro teams. And I wonder if that's it, I don't know. They won an overtime against the Capitals. I'm expecting a hard-fought game. It's as simple as that. I'm expecting a hard-fought game. I'm expecting a close one. If you're gonna press me and ask me an answer, who's gonna win? I think the Islanders bounce back after that hideous showing last night.
There you go.
I really don't think they could play as poorly as they did yesterday. Here's the issue: if you come out and you lose tonight and you look uninspired, unenthused, or just exhausted, we're harbinger for very, very bad future. A very, very bad future for the rest of the year. If we don't come out and have a different mindset, play to a different level, I think that tells you all you need to know about the team.
We seem to get up for the good teams, though, this season. For the most part, we get up for the good teams. We've beaten quite a few good teams this year.
I told you again. We went through all those games. A lot of circumstances benefited us.
I
But sure,
know, but
continue.
still, you still got to
Playing
win.
Henry's backup goalie always helps.
I guess we'll get Vegas starter tonight, though. And I don't know, is Sorokin going tonight or is it Varlamov? I got to think Varlamov, right?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
I mean, I would say Varlamov.
I assume we're getting Vegas' starter. Let's see here. I don't know, Grump. You're gonna have to give me a second to pull that up.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, for me, like I said, Sorokin has struggled the last number of games. He's just not looked the same. Yesterday, he gave up a couple of weekies.
I don't think so.
I did.
What did Arizona do that teams have not been doing against us? They put asses in front of the freaking net, and they put asses in front of Sorokin. And it's really tough to expect goalies to have a fantastic night when you've got not interference, but when you have a consistent effort screen goalie to make sure that you're fighting the hard battles down low. Teams hadn't really been doing that against us. Arizona did.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just wondering who starts tonight. Do you know? Do they have an update?
Holy shit! I'll tell you again. We don't know yet, Grumpy. But
it's like an hour before game time. Usually they have that line of who was like out there for the pregame skate, like for the morning skate. That's usually how they make that determination.
Couldn't find anywhere, Grumpy. Don't worry. You put a little head on it, okay? I want to get back to, you thought Sorokin landed weak goals yesterday. I want to understand how you think that.
The goal that made it, I think the goal that made it 4-3, he didn't. It was when he got muscled out for a rebound goal right in front of the net. Didn't have his pads down to the ice, and he's never like that. I just don't think he's looked as good. I think he's looked a little bit shaky. Going back to the goal that, he took the shot from, the blue line and just missed it. I mean, I think.
Okay. No, I'm asking what he did yesterday to make you think that.
I just told you.
Okay, so you're bringing up something. You're bringing up something that happened 2 weeks ago to say, well, he hasn't looked
the one yesterday where he seemed like he was too deep in the net, and he makes the initial save, and he's not fully down on the ice, and the guy goes for a rebound, slides at 5-hole. That's a weak goal.
We're upset he made the initial save, but the rebound is what a guy scored on. We're upset that the guy scored on a rebound in front of him.
He doesn't give up goals like that.
Just making sure we understand.
That's a goal that he doesn't give up, and he did yesterday. I just think he struggled a little bit. That's all. And we knew it was going to happen. He wasn't going to have a .95 save percentage all year. Goaltenders have up and down, up and down. It's just the way it is. Right now, he's a little bit on the downside. I think they should start Varlamov tonight. Varlamov's been sharp, really sharp. He hasn't been down at all this year. He deserves a little bit more starts, a few more trips on the ice over Sorokin right now. He's playing better. Best player plays.
Okay. Our defense gives up juicy freaking chances in front of them. And again, you're going to go ahead and malign the goalie. I'm
not maligning the goalie. I don't know why.
It looks like he's struggling. It looks like, we should start playing Sorokin a few more games now because it looks like Sorokin's in it. Sorokin's the guy. Simple. If you get a bad start from Jacob deGrom or two bad starts, hey, Jacob, man, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you some rest maybe. We don't want you throwing at you. Just not looking the same out there. We're going to go ahead and roll somebody else out there in the rotation. We're just going to start giving them a little bit more time. We're not throwing you 7-8 innings. Yeah, maybe we're going to throw you 4 or 5. You're wrong with the best guy. You're wrong with the best player. If Matt Barzal doesn't score points, let's say in 4 or 5 games, hey, Matty B, yeah, I noticed last 4 or 5 games you've been struggling a bit. You're going to find your way on the bench. You're not playing 20 minutes a night right now. You're going to be playing like 12 or 13. You're all the best fucking player out there. I'm confused.
The point is, Varlamov has been playing extremely well.
You're saying Varlamov's played better than Sorokin as of late. I think you're wrong.
Okay, I think absolutely as of late. I think Varlamov's play has stayed right here. And Sorokin's has dipped a little bit. I'm not saying he's a better player, but I'm not going to start him in back-to-back games.
So Sorokin's here, Varlamov's here. Let's say Sorokin even dipped a little bit. He's still a better goalie than Varlamov. And you're saying, hey, let's start throwing Varley out there.
Varlamov's been really, really good recently. Really good.
Sorokin didn't start a game in freaking 7 days or 6 days. That was his first start in 6 days. And you're going to say, okay, we're not worried about it. They're not going to play. Here's the thing that concerns me. They're going to play Varlamov against Colorado.
Why? What makes you say that?
He always plays against Colorado. He used to play for Colorado. He always plays against Colorado. Always, always, always.
I think they
play Varlamov tonight. Varlamov plays on Monday too.
I think they said
fine, whatever. You're just happy saying, okay, Varlamov is the guy we're rolling now. I don't like that idea. Sorokin's the better goalie.
I don't think Sorokin was good last night. I don't think he played well last night. Not to the level that he's played all year.
Okay, you keep getting that, but you understand, right? We're getting into the semantics of it, but he hasn't played as well as he had all year. He still played better than Varlamov. What are you talking about? You put the best goalie out there.
I thought he was poor last night. I'm not starting him back-to-back. If he's played poor, and Varlamov played really well against Boston, really well. Really well.
He usually plays really well historically against Boston.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
That doesn't matter. It
Here's
doesn't
the
matter
thing.
that he plays
Sorokin was poor last night. I'm rolling with Varlamov today.
Okay.
And if Varlamov plays well today, I'll start him in Colorado. If he looks bad, I go back to Sorokin. Sorokin has not been good recently. He's still making tremendous saves, but there's little things that he's doing where he's giving up goals that he should not give up. And I'm not saying that he's poor. I'm just saying that he's regressing to the norm a little bit. That's all. Varlamov has played better than him recently. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we should trade Sorokin, get rid of him. He sucks. I'm not saying that. We have to win tonight. And you don't have the advantage of, okay, well, let's ride out. Maybe Sorokin will be bad for the next 5 or 6 games and he'll right the ship. You can't lose 5 or 6 games in a row. You're going to be out of the playoffs hunt by then. Can't do that.
So let's put the inferior goalie out there. That's fine.
I don't.
Here's the thing: they're not rolling out anybody but Varlamov on Monday. I would be shocked if they rolled out Sorokin on Monday. That's all. And so we're just getting back into a point. Hey, man, we're back to Barry Trotz territory. Hey, let's find a way if we could throw Sorokin in there or throw Varlamov in there more.
But Varlamov's playing better right now. He's not the best goalie. He's not the better goalie. I still say we trade him at the deadline. But right now, he's playing better. He's not the better goalie, but he's playing better. It's called riding the hot hand.
He's not the hot hand. He's not the better goalie right now. Just disagree.
We've lost. Sorokin's lost 4 in a row. That's the definition of a cold hand.
It's like saying a pitcher's lost 4 in a row. Well, what type of run support?
Wasn't he in net for the 7 goals? Who was in net for the 7 goals against St. Louis? Who was that? It was Sorokin.
Yeah, that was Sorokin. Yeah. Correct.
All right. He gave up 5 goals yesterday.
He's lost 5 in a row.
5 in a row. Even worse. He gave up 5 goals yesterday. It's not like we're getting beat 1-0. We're giving up boatloads of goals when he's in there. I'm just saying maybe it's time where, you know what? I'm not rolling him out in a back-to-back. If he would have shut out Arizona yesterday, okay, I'm willing to go back-to-back. He gave up 5 goals and one which was really weak. One he didn't even see.
We're December 17th right now, and he's played 4 games in December. I don't know. Maybe, you talk about some of those self-fulfilling prophecies. Really tough for a goalie to find rhythm when you start 4 times in, 17, 18 games or 17, 18 days. So, I mean, you're playing 1 game every 4. It's backup duty. Grump is almost what it equates to.
But
I don't know. You're trying to get your goalie, to get him back on the right spot. You know how you do that? Your defense does a little bit more in front of him. That's how you do it.
How is Varlamov able to have better numbers over the same defense playing in front of him? He's been playing better.
We've talked about this.
Sorokin just hit a rough patch. That's all. He's just hit a little bit of rough patch. It's not the end of the world, but the other guy's playing better. So there's no way I'm going back-to-back with Sorokin after the performance he had last night. Absolutely not. Against a better team tonight.
All I'm going to say is Varlamov will play today. He will play on Monday, and we'll see how things go. Maybe they'll roll. Maybe Varlamov's going to be.
We don't even know if he's starting today.
Okay.
You just told me 5 minutes ago. We don't even know if he's starting today. You already got him starting today and Monday.
I don't see anything tweeted up, and if somebody sees a tweet, let me know. But I'm not seeing any tweets yet with the rosters yet. That being said, Grump, when you look at it, right, Varley, you talk about how well Varlamov has played, right? 1 game of shot against Chicago. Well, He gave up 4 goals on 29 shots against the Devils. That's not stellar. And he played well. Okay, gave up 3 goals on 30 shots against Boston. Again, like
He
neither of
was
the
real good
goalies have
against
been excellent.
Boston. He was really good against Boston.
Okay. Yeah, we're just going to agree to disagree on this point. Varlamov has not been the better goalie as of late. I've always believed and still believe Sorokin should be playing the lion's share. You shouldn't even be splitting it 50-50. Sorokin's a better goalie. Sorokin's the better player. Sorokin gets to play. Simple. So, anyway, what are you?
He's just not playing well right now. That's all.
I did find this as an interesting. Oh, fuck. We're back on this again. Just stop. Did find this interesting. Kevin Kurtz posted this here. He says Islanders against teams that are below them in the standings, 11-9. Teams that are above them in the standings, 6-4-1. So in both of those metrics, slightly above average. That's exactly what it is. Slightly above 500 in both of those areas.
We should be much better against teams below us in the standings. Much better.
That's where the issue lies.
Yes.
That's where, like, what we're going to see is we're playing tough teams. I wonder if this starts to change a bit because, hey, we're playing a lot of those tough teams that are above us in the schedule or standings has an impact us.
One thing I want to say about that, under Barry Trotz, we always beat the teams below us in the standings. Our record was superior to them. We might lose a couple of games, but those numbers, instead of 11-9, probably would have been 16-4 or 16-3-1. It was the teams above us in the standings that we struggled with, particularly last year. Playoff teams, we really struggled against them. But against the lesser teams in the league, we dominated them. That's what makes this team so kind of hard to get a figure on, because it seems like we are playing better against the better teams, not every night, but, we're more than holding our own against them. But against the lower seeded teams, it's like, man, it's a real crapshoot. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yep. Got to beat the teams below you. Have to. Got to do it. But I do want to go ahead and read our ad here today, Grumpy, from DraftKings. Hockey fans, light the lamp this winter with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers can bet just $5 pregame money line on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. And if that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into even bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored for your shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes in the description for additional details.
Very nice, TJ. Very professionally done.
I know. I've been reading that one for a while now, so I've almost got it memorized, Grump. I can read that in my sleep.
I like it.
Read it in my sleep. Joseph C. said, I was going to poke fun at the fact that you guys lost to the Flyers, but I remembered the only Ducks win in regulation came at the hands of the Rangers.
That's ancient history, us losing to the Flyers.
Well, yeah. Freaking Flyers. The freaking Flyers, Grump.
Who was in net for that game?
I can pull it up for you, Grumpy. Do you know who was in net for that game? Is that what you're asking?
I'm just figuring it was Sorokin.
What makes you figure that?
Because he's on a 5-game losing streak.
Okay. Let me pull it up here. You're going to have to. Okay, you keep reading comments, saying, Grumpy, if you want me to pull that up for you.
Okay. Joseph C. says, ironic, Matt Ryan is at the helm of two of the biggest choke jobs in NFL history, by the way. Not all his fault, but 33-0, and you can't win. Yeah, Indianapolis blows.
Jeff Saturday being hired as a coach was the worst, or as an interim coach, was the worst decision known. It's like one of the worst coaches. It's one of the worst interim head coach decisions I've ever seen.
Well, it's still better than what it was before under Frank Reich.
I don't know, dude. You think Frank Reich would have blown a 33-0 lead?
I don't think they would have even scored 20 points under Frank Reich because they weren't scoring at all. He would have been starting the Ellinger kid.
What's the difference between losing 35-33 or 40-3? What's the difference? A loss is a loss is a loss. It's that simple. I saw that. It's pathetic.
So you think it's better to get beat 45-3 than 35-33? Is that what you're saying?
Let me ask you this. Is it worse to lose 40-3 or to give up 35 unanswered points in the second half to lose? They're both really fucking bad ways to lose, because when you go ahead and go up 33-0 at halftime and find a way to lose, Grumpy, that is no heart. That's a lack of effort, and that's the inability to close out a game. Or do you just want to get throttled and you could just say, hey, just hit the delete on that one and move on to the next one? When you lose, when you're up 33-0 and find a way, that's finding a way to lose. Just like the Islanders did against the Coyotes. That's finding a way to lose. Is it worse to get your ass blown out of the stadium or find a way to lose?
Find a way to lose, because at least this shows that, you know what? There are some positives. The offense looked good today. The quarterback looked good. The wide receivers looked good.
The offense looked good. No. They had a special teams touchdown, a pick six. What are you talking about?
Okay, so the defense looked good early. So here's the thing. It's better if the games are competitive. You have something to look at, something to build on. You get beat 45-3. What do you have to build on? Your team sucks. There's no positives that come out of a 45-3.
You can hit the reset. Just say, hey, scrap it. It was a bad game from start to finish. You don't say, oh, yeah.
When you're 4-9-1, your team blows. You are what your record says you are.
They couldn't
as
pick up
Dennis Green would say.
They couldn't pick up a first down with fucking Jonathan Taylor as the running back.
Jonathan Taylor was out. Jonathan Taylor was out. He went out early in the game with an ankle injury. He was out the whole game.
So he went out early in the game. You can't find a way to pick up first downs. Period. End of sentence. I turned the game off once they went up big. I was like, half paying attention. They went up big, and once Kirk Cousins threw that pick six, I'm like, that's it. I'm not watching that anymore. And I find out I missed out on the big game.
There you
a little
go.
Jealous. I'm upset.
What happens when you're a quitter viewer?
That's me, a quitter viewer. Nick D says, TJ, you there? We are. Drew L says, I had a feeling those Coyotes would win. They're sneaky against weak defensive teams.
That's a problem.
That's going to be a problem if we make the postseason too. This is, Matthew S said, good evening, gentlemen. Don't even know where to start here. That was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing loss.
Yep, it was.
No W says, if this season continues the way it's going, do you guys see us keeping Lane Lambert as a head coach? Probably not.
I think there are bigger things to worry about. Is Lou Lamoriello going to be here after this year? If you go in a different direction with Lou Lamoriello, a new GM is going to come in and he's going to pick his own guy. They're going to blow the team up.
That's why I said I don't think he'll be here as head coach, because if we continue on this if we continue to play games like we have recently, we're not winning games, we're finding ways to lose. Lou Lamoriello's out as a general manager. We're getting a new head coach by proxy. That simple.
Lou Lamoriello should be out as a general manager, period, at 80 years old. Period. He's 80 freaking years old. He should not be a general manager of an NHL team anymore.
I agree. Anyway, I'm not saying he should be. Just saying if he's gone, right, if the losing is what it takes to get him out, I don't think we keep a head coach the same. Andrew L said, imagine losing 2 games to the Coyotes. Oh, wait, I don't have to imagine it.
Tough losses, both of them.
Drew L said, also, Grumpy, guess what? The Knicks on a 6-game winning streak. However, this game tomorrow will be a good test to see where my Knicks are at.
Hey, if they're leading at halftime, that game's over.
Jake K says, fellas, I'm in Vegas to watch the game.
Oh, I mean, Jake, you're going to have to let us know exactly what it looks like, what that stadium looks like. I'm dying to find out.
What do you mean? Just like
the atmosphere, in Vegas.
Okay, the atmosphere is really fun. Yeah. Gotcha. Matthew S says, hopefully you get a better performance than last night's garbage.
I think we will. I think we're going to play much better today.
I think we do too. We play up to our competition.
If we don't, we're in real trouble.
Yep. Just as I said earlier, we're in trouble. Nick D, Grumpy.
TJ, Grumpy, how are you guys doing tonight? Rumors are swirling that Canucks will take a second or third rounder for Besser. I'd give up a third round pick for him yesterday. Change the scenery for somebody like that. Absolutely. He's younger. Jettison the old, bring in the new.
He's not younger. He's like, what, 27?
Brock Besser? I don't know. I don't know how old he is. Here's the thing. He's not 38. He's not 32.
He's 25. I apologize.
He's 25. He's on a what, $5.5 million a year contract for a number of years yet.
I'll pull it up here. Now we looked this up a little while ago. It's like
Yeah,
6.6 for the next for including this year for the next 3 years, for 3 years including this year.
I'm willing to roll a dice on that for a third round pick. Absolutely,
I would too. I think he needs a change of scenery. I would be fine.
We need a change of scenery. We need someone from the outside to come in. It can't be the same old guys. You get the same results with the same guys. This room needs to be shaken up a little bit.
Just update score wise. Capitals going to beat the Maple Leafs. They won. They're up 5-2. 6 minutes remaining in the third period. Depending on what we. Panthers up 3-1 on the Devils. They grow closer with games in hand over us in the standings. Hurricanes up 4-3 over the Dallas Stars to continue their march forward. Rangers up 4-3. 4 minutes remaining against the Flyers. Tough. That's all it is. Tough teams around us there, Grumpy. JK says the Arizona goalie looked really awkward in that. Yeah, that's what I said. I think
he looked terrible. I thought he was fighting every single puck, every single one. You see games like that. It's like, oh, we're beating those guys, and usually those are the guys that we do beat. We beat teams like that where the goal just with us crashing the net. I'll tell you what, you saw a lot of that from Arizona last night too. That's what teams that don't have talent do. They crash the net trying to generate dirty goals. That's what bad teams do.
Okay. Tough for a goalie to play fantastic hockey when that happens. That being said, right, the rest of the comment says we could still not beat a goalie who looked really awkward in net. We looked out of sorts in our own end.
Yes.
If you Grumpy, you've got that orange part of your shirt that just keeps filling right over the top. That little flush there.
Just a pain in my ass is what.
I just don't know how you can't get the microphone set up.
I just don't know why you're such a pain in the ass. That's what I want to know.
It sounds great. I love that. That's perfect. Nick D said, "Oh, we suck." Doug R said,
hey, "Oh no, we suck again."
He says, "Hello, boys. I've been away for a bit. Wasn't sure if I'd show up tonight since my head hurts from banging it against the wall last night." Doug, oof.
Well, here's the thing. Anyone who's watching, you could, go upstairs in your bedroom if you have a TV in your bedroom. I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
No worries, Grumpy. But you could go up. Fucking hey, that looked. Oh my God, Grumpy is not one of those. He's not one of those.
No,
he's not one of those relaxed sneezers or like comfortable sneezers. That son of a gun looks like those are sneezes from hell.
Dog Z is in the house tonight. So when he's in the house, I'm kind of a little bit allergic to him. And I get sneezy, I get a little congested, stuff like that. So what was that comment again? I'm sorry. That I was starting to talk about.
Talking about banging the wall. You said you got a TV upstairs.
Yeah, if you have the one thing is you can put the game up when you're watching there. If you fall asleep, during the game, it's okay. You can still have sweet dreams or a nightmare, depending on what the game is at the time.
There it is. I like that. Joseph C says, as good as Sorokin is, it's hard to maintain a .935 save percentage like he had.
True.
He has seen regression at some point.
True.
Still,
that's all I'm saying.
Still playing better. Okay, sure. He's seen regression. He's still playing better hockey than Varlamov.
Not recently.
John Smith said series sweep from the Coyotes. Yeah. Yep. The Wicker Man says, why is Arizona playing in a college stadium that only holds 4,400 people? I had a rumor last year, but I thought it was a joke.
No, it's true. And the whole thing was they weren't paying their. And here's the thing. The Coyotes are owned by the NHL right now.
Yes.
They couldn't pay their taxes. What does it tell you about who's running the league? You got to pay your taxes. So they went to a smaller arena. It's better to have a sold out crowd, a more raucous crowd than, just having 5,000 people in a $17,000 stadium, a 17,000 seat stadium.
Okay, yeah. So, when we look at it, they played Arizona State to answer your question, Wickerman. They played Arizona State University in Tempe. Arizona is where they've been playing their games at Mullet Arena. So they do play in front of a smaller crowd.
And you know that the first goal scored in Mullet Arena was scored by Shane Doan's son for Arizona State University.
Okay, so he was playing college. He was a college hockey player.
Yes, and Shane Doan, he's like
Arizona
One of the,
Coyote favorite. Yeah, Arizona Coyote fan favorite.
he's one of right, and he's one of the guys running the show there now.
Yep. DDT says you can throw the Vesna talk out the window. This is what I mean. These are the type of fans, Grumpy, that just drive me nuts.
But he's not been great recently.
Holy shit. So you saw him go out from the best goalie in the goddamn world to I'm still one of the best goalies in the world for 4 games, and we're here ready to turn our back. Oh man, yeah, just turn our back on him.
Okay, it's not turning your back on him.
Exactly what it is.
It's just
Nice jersey, guys. Thanks there, Wickerman. Thank you. D-Cut. What are you doing, Grumpy? D-Cut says, fire lame. Hire Barry. Oh, there it is. Frank K said, the defending of ownership in Lou needs to stop. Totally inept. This team won't win shit with the assholes running it. Lou thinking that he's running the same team in, was going to win a cup. Total joke.
True. Everything that goes wrong.
Okay,
And everything that they've been saying about, Barry Trotz was the read. Barry Trotz. He's gone. There is no excuse. Everything's on Lou Lamoriello now. Everything.
Yep. And Grumpy, I don't know if you want to try to get everything done in 30 minutes before the game starts, but if so, just make sure you're mindful of that, or we can go during the game. So just make sure you're mindful of that. I'm free to do whatever you want. I know you might be. I know it's getting late, Grumpy, but we might. Hey, I'm good to keep going until we get through all the comments. Just keep that in mind. Andrew L says, rest in peace to the couch.
Yeah, couch is in trouble.
You're sending it up there to New York. Drew L said,
bye-bye, couch.
Everyone, in honor of Grumpy's legendary couch, let's have a moment of silence to honor the couch's legacy.
Ooh, yes.
It's TJ time on Central Standard Time. There it is. Andrew L said, Sorokin hasn't looked sharp, and Barzal has been meh recently.
I think what teams are finding is they now know we're going to put 2 guys on Barzal, and Boston shows everyone how to do that. 2 guys, 2.5 even, make somebody else beat you, and we're just not capable of doing that. Boston just neutralizes him.
Yeah, he played 1 game against Boston this year, but yeah.
But when they played Boston before, they know how to play him.
Yeah, I think a more appropriate statement would be they neutralized him. Like they played him once, they neutralized. I wouldn't say they neutralized him like all the time, implying that, but I'd say, yeah, they neutralized him the 1 game they played him. Sure. Frank Stenger says fish sticks. Doug R says, very afraid Lou is going to wait too long and try to get a score. If not here by the Canadian road trip starting New Year's Day, it will be too late.
That's okay, because then you start selling.
Yeah.
You go into sell mode.
Yeah. Or we can just, depending on what happens in the trip, we could just say, let's wait closer to the deadline. I'm not even sure. It's got to be the right guy. It's got to be the right guy. See, like Brock Besser doesn't fix all the problems on this team.
But for a 3rd round pick, it means we don't have to see Casper Holmstrom. We don't have to see him. We don't have to see Kyle Palmieri on a night in, night out basis. We don't have to. If Anthony Beauvillier is not performing, he can sit down. Josh Bailey can sit down permanently. That's what bringing somebody in from the outside who just obviously needs a change of scenery could do for a team.
My little brownie said, I saw Barzy roll his eyes in his mouth. What the F did I sign up for when Lee missed that pass?
Oh, my gosh. Lee's been terrible.
At least terrible. That's what I imagined.
Lee's been terrible. He's just been terrible. Even worse than terrible. I was like, holy crap. At least he used to be able to catch a pass. He used to be able to shoot a little bit. He's been terrible. 9 goals. What did he score? 8 in the first 3 games? Because he's been freaking terrible the last month. Just terrible.
John Smith said, it seems like under Lambert, defense is optional.
That, you know what? You wonder whose fault that is? That's Lou Lamoriello's fault. That's Lou Lamoriello's fault for refusing to go out and get better offensive talent. It's not Lane Lambert's fault. He's trying to generate more offense. The only way to do it with the just total the front line group that is just bereft of any talent except number 13. It's just so difficult. So difficult because now your defense has to play offense, which leaves you vulnerable on the back end. That's the catch-22. That's what it is.
Drill also agreeing Lee is abysmal.
He's been horrible.
Frank Hayes saying the organization needs a severe cleaning. Remember I said the window closed after losing in Game 7 to Tampa? They're a joke. Let's be real.
I've been saying it for how many years now? They should have been gradually refreshing the roster, letting go of the guys who are in their 30s instead of signing them to further contract extensions. You're just asking for trouble. Now it's here. We knew it was coming. It's here now. If we don't make the playoffs this year, we have to blow it up. But now it doesn't even matter anymore. You're going to be so far behind the 8 ball where you could have been, instead of trading away first-round picks, you could have started to ease some better talent, younger talent into the roster for a gradual transition. Now it's going to be from here to here. Well, actually, from here to here.
I think we do have young talents, just making sure that
we are here. This is where we're going. Way down there.
I don't know. I think that may be a little drastic.
No.
Okay. I think that's a little overblown. But anyway, D-Cut says Igor are over Ilya Sorokin all day, every day. See, I don't agree with
I think that D-Cut's a Rangers fan.
Yep. That's when you get all this. You start rounding up these people talking about, Sorokin's look bad. Sorokin's look.
I want to say one thing about D-Cut and the boys at Isles Misery Rated R. Still love them, even though he sounds like a Rangers fan now.
No, that's the issue. Scott L says, "Hey guys, what's up, Scott? That's not the report I got from a top scout in Russia. Brock tied the ballerina in points. Is better in face-offs than his zone. Our best forward, hands down."
Totally disagree.
Way.
Totally disagree.
No way. My gosh. Come on, D-Cut. Come on. The league contract is looking real bad now. He's been awful.
We knew that was coming. Here's the thing. On this show, we said it the day he signed that contract. That's a brutal contract.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yep. Tony G saying, here I am thinking I'm early. Matthew S said, Lee looked so awful. Oh, my God. That, I assume he says that probably means to say that's, or he needs to be taken off that line. I would even argue the C needs to be stripped off the jersey. I can't believe I'm saying this, but unless Palmieri can play left side, Parise might be the best option on Matt Barzal's line, and that's not a good thing.
It's not. It's not. That's an issue.
We've always talked about how Matt Barzal and Anders Lee are like water and oil. But we found ourselves in a spot to where those freaking those liquids that just won't congeal are being mixed together once again.
We have nothing in the forward group. Nothing. Just no one who's any good. 13 is good, and Croc is good enough too. That's it. That's it. Everybody else is just a ham and egger. Everybody else.
Brian P said all good teams have their defense join the play. Yeah, they do, but not as much. Our defense is joining the play. I'd argue more than any other. It's the reason why we've got number one in the NHL in goals by defensemen. Because even more.
Here's the thing: their defense might join the play, but they have the skating skills to get back to play defensively. Our defensive guys, with the exception of Dobson and maybe Romanov, don't have that speed to get back and play. They just don't.
Yeah. And D-Cut then says, can Dobson borrow some roids from Bellows? Kid needs to hit the gym. It's just time. Time's going to be the only thing that's going to take him to get that done.
He's still a boy yet. He's still a boy.
Change up the defensive pairings when Pelech is back.
Absolutely.
Be nice.
Dobson and Pelech. But I mean, look at Romanov. Even with Pulak out there, Romanov's just wandering around over by the boards, not playing position. He's been he's been a bust this year defensively. He really has.
So was my statement correct then, Grumpy?
I don't know what we would have picked at 13. Was there another third liner that we could have picked at the 13 spot?
We could have Varlamov is in. Thank you. Whoever tagged me in this, Varlamov is in tonight. Thank
There you
you. This is posted as of 9:19 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Thank you.
Smart
Thank
move.
you. Many, many thank yous. Yep. Varlamov in net tonight against Vegas.
Had to be. Had to be. Logan Thompson, is he the starter there?
He's playing for them.
Yeah, well, very comparable goaltenders tonight. I guess 21 games, he's got to be their starter, no?
I'm pulling it up. I'm just making sure it's not due to injury. You know,
He's played 21 games this year.
okay. You know what I mean, though? It's not like remember, because Robin Leonard was the guy supposedly there. They have somebody else who's supposed to be the guy that's injured, and that's the reason why Thompson's playing games. That's what I mean, Grumpy.
Okay.
I'll be pulling it up here. Thank you for that. Let's see who posted that to me. Thank you for that, GM Loser Shamarilla. And Cal Clutterbuck and Kyle Palmieri are both day-to-day with upper body injuries right now.
Here's nothing with older players. They get dinged up more.
Yeah. I mean, did it look like Kyle Palmieri almost lost a tooth when he was hit? I thought that was a dirty freaking hit against Kyle Palmieri around the boards. Did you see that hit, Grumpy?
I did see the hit. It was maybe a tad late, but you know what? Here's the thing. I know why the guy hit him. The guy took a kind of a nasty, Palmieri took a nasty slash on that guy just before that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sometimes you kind of reap what you sow a little bit.
Yeah, Logan Thomas is a starting goalie there. Did we talk about Doug R's comment, Grumpy?
No.
Okay.
I understand that this list is not perfect because of contract trade restrictions, but the only untouchables for the club roster, I would say, are Barzal, Nelson, Wallstrom, Dobson, and Sorokin. Gosh, I don't think you're looking to move Pellick. You'd have to get a king's ransom for him. If you're moving Pellick and Bullock, if you just sign them to very manageable deals,
you're gonna blow everything up.
They're there to blow everything up, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And Drew L got a comment there for you, Grump.
I know TJ hates talking about fantasy football, so I'll keep it here. Nick Chubb and Hawkinson busting made this week. Interesting. My money league is the same as well. Okay.
I figured you would enjoy that, talking fantasy.
I'm playing Drew this week in fantasy.
Grumpy, I'll let you get that comment. I'll be back.
Joseph C. says, you guys hear the NHL wants to go back to an 84-game regular season. I also heard that they want to go to having rivalries against teams, as many as 8 games against rivalry teams starting next year. I think that's a great idea. We talked about it here not too long ago, where let's take it where you see teams like the Rangers and the Islanders play 8 times a year, maybe not 8, but maybe 6, and you limit the amount of times that you play the Western Conference teams. I always think there's more rivalries in your interdivisional games. You have to win division anyway, so you might as well play them. I kind of think that's a great idea. Wickerman says, Pajot already has more goals this year than he did last year. That's not saying much. Goongoon says, I stay up until midnight watching the feces last night. Can I get those 3 hours of my life back? You cannot. And here's the thing. You might as well double down now. Game starts in about 15 minutes. Nick D says, we didn't effort trade, but Lou is so tight with the crew that he won't pull the trigger. Yeah, unless he's moving first-round draft picks and players that he just doesn't like. You know, Lamoriello is real good at killing anyone's trade value and then moving them. Just stupid. Drew L says, I see Wally as a second liner. He's not good enough skater to become a first liner. Why not? He's a better skater than Anders Lee, and he's a first liner. Gungoot says, what's going on with Sorokin? Suddenly his skills are stinky. Yeah, he's just going through a rough patch right now, which is what I was trying to explain to TJ, but he wasn't going it. Brian P says, where are you going with this, TJ? I don't know. I don't know what part he was talking about. Maybe it was the Sorokin thing. Who knows? Andrew L says I thought he was going to where he was going. Went to the bathroom like he always does during the show. Andrew L says, about this time, you guys got into proper uniform. Yes, we're both wearing Islander. DJ's wearing a jersey. I'm wearing a shirt. Looks good. Brian B says the Islanders suck. Spot on as usual, Brian, my brother from another mother. Jeff Sobel says perhaps Sorokin is not as good as we all make him out to be. He's lost 6 in a row, and 5 of those 6 games he was not that good. That's my issue. Right now he's just struggling a little bit, and you know what? It happens in season. I think he is as good as we think he is. Frank Kaplan says, Devils came back to earth. You may hear fire rough chants real soon. Rangers are back big time. They look lethal. That's the problem. You're seeing Washington playing really well. The Rangers are playing really well. The Devils are like, 10 points up on us, 9 points up on us. So they can have a little bit of regression, and we're still struggling. Maybe the Devils come all the way back down to earth. I don't think so, just with the big lead they had. Brian P. says, Arizona's in full rebuild, and they have no plans of being in the playoffs. Very true. Joel says, the thing is the Coyotes have left-handed Matt Barzal, and he was picked in the 4th round of last year's draft. I don't even know what that means. Gungun says, honestly, if I handed sticks and skates to both of you friendly chaps and urged you to take the ice, I think you'd both contribute as much as Lee and Anthony B. Certainly as much as Lee. Bavilier can skate. Cushite Revenge says New York Islanders should contact Kiefer Bellows and put him back in the lineup. He has more offensive upside than Holmstrom. Did Holmstrom even play yesterday? I don't even know. If he did, he's Bailey-like and just invisible out there. Brian P. says, Frank Kaplan, they absolutely dominated Philly yesterday, and they lost to Carter Hart, period. Okay. John Smith says, DeFore had another goal. Kids got a shot, 11 goals in 27 games. That's what you call having upside. Frank Kaplan says, Thursday, they ran out of luck, it seems. Matt S. says, I disagree. He's given up very bad ones, but the team has played like shit in front of him. Okay. Brian P. says, Frank, he still thinks the Devils are a good team. Goon says, tomorrow for the Jets, he bets that Zach Wilson will play wacky. We're going to find out. Zach Wilson will be starting tomorrow for the Jets against the Detroit Lions. I'm going to start just skipping through some of these. We're going to have to go a little fast because I know the game is starting and people want to watch the game. I understand. Matthew, I talk about Sorokin. His position is a little tentative lately, and that's not a major issue. That's exactly what I'm saying. Frank says Mayfield is great at screening a goalie on his own. James Farrell, and this will be the last time I mention that. What a disgusting loss, losing by Arizona. I'll just blow by the rest of those. D-Cut says, Brian Parson, the Devs should sign Varlamov in the offseason. Goaltending is poor. Why not just move him to the Devils? Get a first-round draft pick. Do whatever you got to do. If you're not making the playoffs, who cares? You might as well move Varlamov. Doug was wondering why Sorokin, if he's number one, why did he play last night instead of Varlamov? Well, doesn't matter. D-Cut says, if we lose the next 5 games, Lame, short for Lane, will get the pink slip and that drunk Thompson will take over. You're in for bad times indeed if that happens. Mario says, this year's excuse seems to be that the Islanders have only one loser point. That is what the point is, to be more often brought up on various Islanders groups. Well, what does it mean? It means that you're winning games in regulation or you're losing games in regulation. What do loser points have to do anything? Goon says also, Sala is stupid for leaving old Flacco in. That's a football comment. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Evel says, unacceptable loss 2 to the Coyotes.
Alrighty, Grumpy. I'm back.
Okay, we're looking about
yeah, I can find it there.
8:53. Joseph C says Phil's Fax was going to do a lot of shit talking about the other Metro teams, then got real quiet the last couple of days. We had to talk about that. Phil's been, let me tell you something. Phil must be on suicide watch right now. Everything he said is wrong. Everything.
I'm telling you, it's not necessarily that. You know, we're in a
everything Phil says is wrong. It is necessarily that.
Okay, fair enough. D-Cut says here, TJ, you were kissing lames behind when we're winning. Now that we're losing, crickets. Be consistent, Baldwin. I was never kissing Lane Lambert's ass. Never. I think I was the one who said, the only person at that time, they're going to be items that are going to be issues for Lane Lambert and this team that we don't see yet because everything is so new. We haven't had a chance to process it. And guess what? He's not going to be a Hall of Fame coach. First time, first gig, first season. I think I said that almost verbatim. So no, I'm not kissing his ass, D-Cut. I'm not kissing his ass now. I'm not kissing his ass then. He plays too much of an open system, but I think he does that because we have to generate more offense.
True.
Simple. Alex H says, TJ, fans are already starting to point the finger at Sorokin. That's the problem I have right there. That type of mentality and that type of attitude where people start pointing the finger at the best player on this team.
That's fandom, though. That's fandom. I don't know why that should.
Okay. How often do they point the finger at Derek Jeter? How often do they point the finger? All right.
But he had
damn good on our team.
Okay, but Jeter had, when he had that 1 year where I think he had 2 hits in the first 30, 40 games. I don't even remember what the hell it was. And Torrey wouldn't take him out of the lineup. He built up an awful lot of cachet at that point. But people would call him to sit down. They absolutely were.
Okay.
Goondoon says, in 1980, Torrey and the Island and Arbor were smart enough to know things need to be shaken up, at least as the Islanders floundered in the regular season. Enter Goring, bye-bye Harrison Lewis. Lazy Lou lacks cojones. Very, very true.
Brian B. Sales, say it. Islanders suck again. Mario Grumpy.
The captain is the leader of the locker room, so it's about time that Lee begins calling out some players who play down to the competition. If he has done it in the locker room, has tuned him out, time to name a new captain. Maybe he should look at himself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm part of the problem.
That's what I'm about to say. When you're the captain and we talk about players who play down to the competition, he's one of the perpetrators of that. When you're a guy who, I've always looked at it like this. I was weird like this, but somebody had to be legitimate talent for me to listen to them. If they sucked ass or they weren't the same player, unless they were legitimate, unbelievable world beater at one point. And Lee never was. He was a good player during his prime. I was a good garbage man. He doesn't have it anymore. Shouldn't be the captain. Really tough for guys to listen to somebody who's trying to demand and boss people around in the room who doesn't have it anymore, never did.
Brian at 856 has a comment that's so true. Our goals are up, and we're still 18th in scoring, which we're not that great. Yeah. That's a problem. And everyone say, yeah, we're scoring a lot more. We're just not as good defensively, though.
We're also giving up a lot more goals than we usually do. Yeah, yep. Just as you had mentioned. John Smith, Grump.
Ishikov was a healthy scratch tonight for Bridgeport. Wonder if he's going to get a shot with the big club. Holmstrom has been a complete bust. I told you that was going to happen.
No, his analytics look great.
He blows.
Matthew asked Grump.
First, talking about Jeff Saturday, first guy named Saturday to lose on his namesake. Then Rich Arnold right underneath says JT, Strome, Nelson, Franz, and Casey. Those were the centers at that time. And Strome wasn't even the center.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a common refrain. Fire TJ, hire D-Cut.
Oh, I feel like I've heard that a time or two before. And you got
Brian
here.
Says okay.
Brian P said, you're off, TJ. We were around 12th or 13th in goals allowed under Doug Waite. We were goals allowed right now. No, and under Doug Waite, we are dead last in the NHL.
Okay.
Here's the thing that reminds me of the Doug Waite system. We've got better personnel now than Doug Waite had. Better defensemen, better goaltending by a country mile. I think it's just that simple. No lead was safe under Doug Waite. True.
Freedom Fun Adventure says.
Oh, so we're just skipping comments, huh?
Some of them I just blow by. Yes. Freedom.
Now you've got some enthusiasm. You stop watching your game over there. You're gonna.
I've not been watching a game. I'm in charge of the comments now. When you wander away and I'm in charge of the comments, they're done a little bit differently. Okay.
Like shit.
TJ is late because of his Taylor Swift podcast ran overtime. I looked at Isles lineups on wings, more speed, skill, and grit and relentlessness needed. Bottom 9 wingers needed to be replaced. Very, very true.
I was just not listening to a Taylor Swift podcast. I was also listening to her album. So that's what ran me late.
Oh, my God.
I am a Swiftie, Drew. That's correct. I'm a Swiftie. D-Cut, go.
D-Cut says, Waite's system was a joke. Usually 10 to 12 odd man rushes against per game. I broke tons of remotes watching him coach. Sadly, a clown like, Mario thinks he and Crappy were better coaches than Trotz. Kid must be on meth. Okay.
Also, by the way, Simon Holmstrom, to answer your question, did not play yesterday.
How could you even tell? Even when he's on the ice, he is so bad. Honestly, it would be like me being on the ice because I wouldn't know what the hell to do either. That's what he looks like.
Gungun says,
I'm
I'm
absolutely
absolutely
flabbergasted at how putrid the defense has been. Each game, there are several points guaranteed in which the Islanders zone out and daydream, leading to an eventual fiasco.
Yep, and I think it's just simply because our defense are more are more offensive minded, and they're more just trying to focus on how can we get out of the zone instead of playing their fundamentals and playing a more rigid system. It's that simple. Um,
I remember
uh,
when Daffy Duck said, "Consequences, consequences, as long as I'm rich."
there it is, Grumpy. More comments here for you.
Johnston replaces Martin. Three forwards eventually in Ratu, DeFore, and Ishikov, but you still need two really good wingers. How this restructuring is handled affects the next 7 years. We don't even know if Ratu, DeFore, and Ishikov are going to pan out. No
Correct.
way of telling. Jewel says also part of the reason we're losing some games against bad teams because our forward groups lack so much talent that they go back to doing the Islanders.
D-cut. And I think this is a good point he brings up here.
Salo's playing 7 to 8 minutes a night. Lame is wearing down the other 5D men. Rookie.
That never bodes well long term.
No.
You're going to wear down the guys who I mean, like, we don't rely too heavily upon, certain players to go ahead and play large amounts of minutes. But if we start to change that mindset, our guys usually play pretty much, they roll lines. You're going to say, hey, we're going to need you to play 25, 26 minutes a night. They can do it for a short time period. Can't do that long term. Matthew S. Grumpy.
By the way, Bills fans throwing coincidentally snow against Dolphins players. Suck it up, fish.
John Smith said the price for Horvat came out. Vancouver wants cap relief, a young center, and a right-handed defenseman. I think we can move Pulak.
We should move Pulak.
He's not been that great this year.
If they're looking for cap relief, they're not going to want Pulak back.
That doesn't work for us.
That's not even a fit. I mean, who are you going to move?
We're not a fit for them. But we're Horvat, and here's the other thing. Brock Besser, they're both not fits for us now. Sorry, guys.
Well, they only want a third rounder. They only want a third rounder for Besser. That is a fit for us.
That's cap relief for them. How the hell are we going to fit that on unless we're going to saddle up?
We're not up against the cap right now.
$6.6 million is what Brock Besser makes a year. We don't have $6.6 million of available cap space right now. We're going to have.
How many teams have $6.6 million in cap space? You make it work. It's not the full 6.6 because half the year is almost over. It's not the same. That's why he's been. Remember last year's thing? We've been saving up this cap space so we can make a big move at the deadline. Remember that line of bullshit? And every day it's more and more cap space. We have the cap space for that. Absolutely, we do. What's our cap space at right now? I'm dying to know.
3.8 million.
That up, and I'll go to the next.
3.8 million.
There you go. We absolutely have enough cap space. We can make that work.
We got enough cap space to add a guy who's making 6.6.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Absolutely. We would have to make another trade to give up more assets to get rid of.
Drop somebody. Put him on long-term injury. We have Adam Pelech on long-term injury, right? That's $5 million.
He's not on long-term injury. He's on the IR. What are you smoking? He's on IR, not long-term injury. They're two different things. Anyway, let's get back to it. No, they're not the same. Goon Grump.
TJ, do we all owe you an apology? No, we don't. That maybe your dramatic reaction to the draft, the Romanov deal, was warranted after all? If so, would you accept my sincere apology, or is it too late?
I will accept your apology. And here's the thing. Isn't this funny, Grumpy? An initial reaction, that gut reaction turned out to be correct. Isn't that weird?
Maybe.
Salo also shit on Bridgeport, Connecticut last season. The old man Lou is a vindictive old jerk.
That's true. Absolutely is.
I don't fancy these all red Bill uniforms. I don't even know what they look like yet. Our numbers exactly are this, TJ. 16th in goals for, 10th in goals against. So nowhere near Doug Waite hockey.
Nowhere near.
Brian P. The only reason we are 10th in goals against is because we got a Vezina caliber goalie and a better defensive personnel than we had under Doug Waite. That's it. That's the only thing I think. And Matthew S. said, that works if maybe, you're 11th in goals, but not quite where it needs to be. It's a little bit of a talent issue. Yeah. Drew S. says, I was right in line with Aho's goal. He shot it right into the goalie's chest. I still don't know how it went in.
True. Palosi says, I watched the Toronto-Washington game, and I think we're in trouble.
Yep, I think so too. Sorokin looks like this 6-game losing streak is in his head.
There you go. That's why you should sit him.
Oh, okay.
Clear his head. Drew L says, Bridgeport posted like 2 days ago a nice toe drag goal by Ishikov, although they did a fantastic job of showing the last frame of the toe drag and then the goal. That's the HL for you. So they don't have the same, same.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Doug, there for that. We should have looked in the comments. They gave it to us as Varlamov. Drew S said, I feel bad for Romanov. Winning goal ricochets off of his
I thought it looked. I didn't think it hit him that high. I thought it hit him kind of like on the thigh.
Oh man!
And if he's got a nutsack hanging down that low, more power to you, brother.
Drew S. Grump.
There were a decent amount of Islander fans there. Had the LGI chant going early and often. I think they mentioned that yesterday also.
They had also, I think, had mentioned on a tweet I saw that they could hear the Josh Bailey chant all the way out there in Arizona. And Doug R. here said, these are the lines reported here today.
Lee, Barzy, and Wallstrom, Bailey, Nelson and Bavillier, Parise, Pajot and Palmieri, and the regular fourth line. Not sure about the D combos. Ugh.
Yikes. Paulo C. Grump.
Yes, Grumpy, we can beat Vegas tonight, but Sorokin will have to be the first star if that in that game. I think Sorokin will play because he played well against them. No, he's not playing because he's not been playing very well. Oh. And Varlamov is starting tonight.
Here you go. D-Cut.
Sorokin's expected goals against last night was 2.64, and he gave up 5. Get off his his nuts, and stop throwing millennial hissy fits when Grump tells the truth.
Hey, D-Cut. Here's a question for you.
Oh, watch out.
Here's a funny one. That when a puck happens to be not even really a shot on net and happens to cream off of somebody who trickles towards the net, does that drastically increase the goals expected per, or does that just kind of inadvertently trickle in the net, but it doesn't actually raise the goals expected against? The answer to that is increases the goals in the net, not the goals expected. D-Cut, you're driving me nuts over here. Oh Come on.
Just ew. John Smith says, ew, Lee on the first line again. He and Barley are like oil and water.
I like that. I like it. Andrew
Barley has definitely been better as of recent. Thank you.
I have to disagree. I respectfully disagree, Andrew.
Freedom Fun Adventure says, did you see Bailey got pinned against the boards for eternity and couldn't free himself until the Coyote allowed him to get to go? Team must get more physical while adding speed and skill. Not easy. Team frustrating. Yeah. Bailey is like a guy just held his finger on him. And he's like, I can't go. I can't get up. I can't get up the board. Stuck.
Ride the plus hand. Plus, it's a back-to-back.
There you go.
I don't know. It would have made more sense to. I firmly believe they're still playing Varlamov on Monday. Call me out on if I'm wrong. Shay says, Varley has been better than Sorokin at the moment. Also, the team has won games. Varley has started recently. Wow. Everyone seems to be on the grumpy bandwagon on this one. Thank you. Doesn't matter. I'll stand in the face of tyranny towards that man, Grumpy. Towards Sorokin. Okay. Everybody maligning Sorokin's name. And Frank K. Grump.
Can't wait for Fredo to be the GM. Thompson or McLean is the coach. Total joke. You're not kidding. Lamoriello needs to go. Period. Both Lamoriellos. Matter of fact, no more Italians running the team for a while.
Oh, good gracious. Drew S. Grumpy.
As you might imagine, being a college arena, mullet is a pretty strange experience, including the visiting GM box being accessible to fans. I could have punched Lou if I wanted to. You should have. Now, that would have been fun. Hey, Lou.
Drew sent me.
Go ahead.
No, finish up. Hey, Lou. I want to hear this. I'm sorry.
What the hell are you doing with the team? Stupid old bastard.
You could have got it right up there, up close and personal. You could have yelled at it.
You're 80. Get out. Fossil.
Drew sent us a picture. He met Stefan. You met Stefan Grumpy. Stefan Rosner there. He sent us a picture. Nice. And I'm not sure if you want me to show it. I'm not showing it yet unless I get his okay. Shay says,
Just because he's better in general doesn't mean he's better now. Play the goalie who's playing well. Thank you.
Goon Grump.
Grumpy, am I supposed to believe you're a lifelong Patriots fan, or the admit you began kissing Bill Belichick's rings after he sold his soul to the devil? Actually, I was Giants fan, and way back I was a Jets fan when Namath was quarterback, but I loved the Raiders when I first was a young kid. You just love uniforms, right, when you're a kid. Darryl LaMonaco, all those guys, Snake Stabler. But later, loved the Giants and Bill Parcells as head coach when he went to New England. And took like a bunch of players there on Plan B free agency. I started rooting for New England, and that's where my New England started rooting for them. Was when Parcells went, not Belichick.
Yeah, bullshit. You just became a New England fan when you were rooting for Tom Brady. Why are you trying to paint it like this long elaborate story? Be honest with you. When I was a kid, you were a fucking Giants fan, and then Grumpy, and when Tom Brady started winning games, you started pulling for the Patriots.
They were my American Conference team. Get it?
Oh, okay.
Get it?
Okay.
Get
I
it?
have a different
Get
team
it?
for every division.
Get it? Get it?
You want to know what my division?
Get it?
You want to know what my
Understand?
Do you want to know?
Too much for you? Too much for you? Just like the Varlamov starting instead of Sorokin. Was that too much for you to understand as well?
Do you want to know who my favorite Atlantic Division team is, Grumpy? Probably the Red Wings. And you
Mine's
know,
Tampa. Mine's Tampa.
Okay. How about your Central Division? I'm kind
Central Division.
Yeah.
Probably St. Louis.
Okay, I'm a Colorado guy there. So, we did win the cup. So, hey, I'm happy about that. My boys in Colorado.
I like St. Louis. I like their uniforms.
Let me ask you about
Division, Vancouver.
You got
I have teams in each division that I like. I do.
Oh, fucking stop. Get off it. Brian P says, TJ, way off on this.
TJ is way off on this one. Grump is spot on.
Great.
Thank you.
Drew asked Grump.
The F is Wallstrom doing on the bench during power play too? Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. If Varlamov comes out and plays like shit tonight, every single one of your asses. Every single one of your asses, Grump. Every single one of you. I expect to be hearing, we're wrong, TJ. You're right on that. Joseph C. Grump.
Ovechkin just killed Connor Timmins right into the Capitals bench.
There it is. Wally's on a number 2 power play. The problem is that the first power play burns up 1 minute and 30 seconds on a power play and accomplishes nothing.
We don't have any talent.
Yeah.
You got Barzell, Dobson, and that's it.
We're under 20% on the power play, or right near 20%, I believe.
I don't know what the percentage is.
Okay.
It's not good.
Crawford Brad says Varley is totally the hotter goalie right now.
Totally the hotter goalie right now.
Andrew L said, come on, TJ. You got to be kidding me. How are you so oblivious that Varlamov is playing better than Sorokin as of recent?
I don't know.
I think the positions he's been put in are less intrusive than what Sorokin's been put in. I think the positions we've been putting Varlamov in has been more key to his success. The items he's faced.
That piece of shit Holmstrom is playing tonight.
Well, how do you know this, Grumpy? I thought you don't watch TV during our stream.
Game just started, and
I didn't see you turn your TV on. When did you do that? How did you manage to turn the TV on?
I turned it on when you went to the bathroom. Okay.
Bullshit. I don't know why you're always lying, Grumpy. Always lying. Shay says, I'm starting to dislike Mr. I can't do shit, Captain, even more. Man doesn't do shit.
He's average. He's below average now. He's below average, Anders. He was average. Now he's below average.
Brian P said, TJ, just because it's Colorado doesn't mean they're definitely starting Varlamov.
There you go.
I got a weird hunch about this. I would have started Varlamov last night, even before the game started.
There you go.
I prefer Sorokin as long as he doesn't give up 5 goals. He gives me 7 fantasy points.
There you go. See, Drew's thinking with his head now.
Oh, man. D-Cut says, TJ killing the cartel media for making excuses for a team, but now he's making excuses for Sorokin. Jesus Christ.
One thing you can say about me, I don't make excuses for anyone. If they play good, you hear it. And here's the thing, even if one of my favorites, Josh Bailey, performs well, I'll say that he does. And if Sorokin, who is absolutely one of my favorites, isn't performing well, I say that too. When Matt Barzell doesn't perform well, I say, yeah, he's looked like he's out of place the last couple of games.
To prove my point, Grumpy, I hope Varlamov lets in 97 goals tonight. We lose and we win 98-97, Grumpy. To prove my point.
Okay.
Yeah, getting me all fucking perturbed. Frank K.
The
Grumpy.
defense is freaking sucks. Neither goalie is going to bail them out when the D stands around like a bunch of jackasses. That's true. That's true.
Goon Goon Grump.
Grumpy, explain to TJ how you need to ride the hot goaltender. He's too young to understand how Roland Melanson played the majority of regular season games in 1983, not goaltending god Billy Smith. That's true. That's what the great coaches do. They don't just ride. And you mentioned DeGrom earlier. DeGrom only pitches every 5 days. Okay? So it's not like you can sit him down for
playing every 6 days.
Oh,
that's exactly what we're doing.
It's not
okay. Okay, sure. What do you think his stats have been that Varlamov have been so goddamn great? Second coming of Christ. What do you think his stats have looked like in December, Grump? If you're just taking a random wild fucking guess, what do you think those stats look like?
I don't know, but I bet he's got more wins.
You're not going to be too thrilled with it. Yeah.
What's the most important thing is your team wins.
Dress. Get to read some comments. I'll get those numbers pulled for you because I think
ran into Stefan Rosner during pregame. His press box, in quotes, was a roped-off area in the concourse's SRO section. Hey, at least he got to travel. Drew L says, so TJ, for TJ and the grumpy old man tomorrow, you should find the clip of the Chicago Bulls fans cheering loudly for Derrick Rose when he subbed in and when he hit the 3-ball.
If you send it to us, we'll play it. There's no promises I'll remember that tomorrow. That fourth Sorokin goal let in was horrible.
It was terrible.
Goon Goon Grump.
Bills Dolphins game just delayed because of stupid fans throwing snowballs on the field. Come on, suck it up. Referee's probably afraid of getting hit. Frank Kaplan says the team blows moose balls. Blame Malkin and Lou for being effing jokes. I'm not blaming Malkin. I'm blaming Lamoriello. That's what I'm blaming. Andrew L says, Drew, I don't know if you've noticed or not, basketball is not a hot topic on either of the podcasts. Respectfully, it's true. It's not. Yeah. We like college basketball. Pro basketball just sucks. Drew, well, we will occasionally mention it when something nasty happens. We'll mention it.
Something crazy happens. We'll mention it.
Drew S says, TJ would not like Mullet Arena. 4 bathrooms in the entire place. Ooh, you'd be online the whole game.
918 save percentage for Varlamov as of late. Does that scream God? Fantastic. That's completely fucking average. Average. 918 save percentage. Average.
Watch your mouth. It's a family podcast. Watch
average. Average save percentage for Varlamov as of late. 918. We gotta put Varley in.
What's Sorokin?
Sky's falling. Sorokin's doing shitty. Get him out of there.
What is Sorokin's over the last number of games?
Oh my God, I'll pull it up in December. Give me a sec. I'll pull it.
Go do that.
It won't be as good, but that's fine.
Well, there you go. John Smith says that's because basketball sucks. Respectfully, Drew L says we're going to skip that one because it's probably another basketball thing.
Indeed.
Brian P says the Buffalo crowd just got warned if they throw another snowball, the Bills will get a penalty. Oh my God, stop! It's football. This isn't the WNBA. Come on. Drew S says they got that Shack chicken stand at Muller Arena too. There you go. TJ'd love to go there.
I'm down.
He could eat the chicken sandwich as he's waiting in line to go to the bathroom. Shay says the treatment by fans to Varley versus Sorokin is insane. If he was in goal last night, the fans would be all over him and blaming him. Sorokin was in net, so they're making excuses. Varley is underrated by fans.
Okay. I don't know. I have not complained at all, not once, about Sorokin's play this year or Varlamov's play this year. I thought he's done a very well job. I think he's been very, very competent in the net. Haven't seen any complaints from me.
He's an absolutely outstanding number 2. Absolutely.
Yeah, drill.
TJ, you played high school sports. You'd rather lose in a blowout? Dude, you do realize if you lose 40-3 and your coach was remotely competent, it's hell day the next practice.
Yeah, I'd rather lose 40-3 than have a heartbreaking loss. Sorry. James F.
How about this? Arizona win this season streak, trailing in the first period. Previous record 0-10-2. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Drew S. Grumpy.
Overall, I'd say you forgot it's only a 5,000-seat arena once the game starts. The low roof with 5,000 fans makes it as loud as a 15,000-seat arena. Place blew up when the Coyotes scored that quick go-ahead goal. Yeah. It sounded pretty loud. Shay says, I'm nervous Lou will sell our future and draft picks to win one last time. Well, it's not going to happen. He could sell our draft picks from now until the end of time, and we're not winning a Stanley Cup with this guy as GM, period.
It's trying to grasp at one more chance. And I don't know. It's just not going to happen. It's right, Grumpy. Michael B. Grump.
Varley's played great so far this season. Steady, reliable veteran, knows how to play the angles and do well. Sorokin has the most natural talent of our two goalies. Very, very true. Gungun says, Mark Sanchez is doing commentary tonight for the Bills game. Hopefully, he doesn't slip on a snowball and find his snout in the other commentator's backside. Reference to the old butt fumble game.
Save percentage, Sorokin, 0.857.
Pretty crappy. 918 to 85.7. You tell me.
0.857.
I guess, thank you very much. Like I said, I hate it when I'm proved right once again. Why do you doubt me ever?
Just wait till tonight. Just wait till tonight. He's going to like 97 goals in Grumpy. Proving my point. Agree 1,000%, Grumpy. Lou should not be general manager. Period. Shout out Isles Misery. Rated R.
Already did it. That's what happens when I'm in charge of taking comments. I do shout outs to our fantastic Facebook friends at Isles Misery Rated R.
Oh, man. Grumpy James F.
Guys, what are your surprises in this year's World Cup?
Tomorrow, James. We'll talk about tomorrow, but big surprise was, I think, Morocco. I thought they were going to be a dark horse, but I never thought they would have done as successful as they were. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow if you remind us. Owls91 says 0-2 against the Coyotes. Yep. John McManaman said, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Joseph C. Grump.
See, someone should have taken a chance on Sonny Milano this offseason. He has 13 points in 20 games with the Capitals.
Yep. I'd have been down for something like that. But he's, again, just unfortunately another of those bottom six guys that our team was just loaded with bottom six guys. Doesn't move the needle enough for me.
Johnny Mac says we throw away more points than any other team. I don't know if that's true or not, but I
think we throw away a lot of points. Yeah. Declan F.
I'd rather Brock Besser for a second or third than give up prospects and possibly a first for Horvat. Horvat only makes sense if we are really going for the cup, and I don't see that happening. I'm not. First of all, if that's what what was expressed earlier is what they're looking for in Horvat, we're not a fit for them. So but I go after Besser for a second round and third round pick, and I'm also trading Mayfield and Varlamov to try to get other first round picks. Declan F says, I'm happy I went to bed last night after the first. You're right there.
There's TJ's one millennial hissy fit, a podcast. Gross just announced that Palmieri and Clutterbuck out with UBI.
Upper body injuries.
Upper body. LOL. Old and busted. Rich Rosenkrantz, Grump.
Grumpy, yes. All we do is score ugly goals, but ugly goals are scored against us. Yeah. For certainly last night. There were some ugly goals last night.
Okay, moving along here. TJ, you do realize that when we're saying Sorokin's Vezina hopes are done, doesn't mean he sucks. I don't think his hopes are done and dusted. My God. Just like I say, every fucking show, I feel like things are never as good as they look, and they're never as bad as they look. That's it. Never as bad.
But when you have an 8.57 save percentage and the other guy's got 9.18, he should start over you. James F says, do you guys see Arizona potential a new arena in Tempe? The new stadium looks like the Saddle Dome. The scoreboard looks like SoFi Stadium. TJ, maybe you can put it up on the screen.
Try to pull this up. Arizona, Tempe. I'll pull that up here.
And Gungun says, how come the NHL is very patient in working with the Coyotes in their tiny arena, but our beloved Nassau Coliseum was out of the question? Bestman can kiss my torrid tuchus. The reason is the NHL owns the Arizona Coyotes, so they could do whatever they want with them.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Rosenkrantz said, Archie Bunker never got a new chair. Don't do it, Grumpy. Had to do it. Declan says, why don't we talk about moving Lee? He's horrible. He sucks so bad. There has to be somebody who's willing to take him at the deadline. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. But his trade value is nothing. I think they should run him over in the parking lot and put him on long-term injury.
Yeah, there's no way. I don't think anybody's willing to take him. That's the new arena there,
It
Grumpy.
looks nice.
At least a new design.
You know, the sketch looks nice anyway.
Roster's out. Lee back on the second line. That's good news, at least. Okay. I don't know. Maybe they're just still jostling those lines around. Oh, boys. Palmieri and Clutterbuck out again. Goon, Grumpy.
Ever since that awful shorthanded goal in Game 7, the Islanders have developed a fetish for giving up shorties. That was our pal Josh Bailey who did that. But Bailey is a first-line winger now, so I don't know what's worse. Bailey blows.
And the Rangers won again, says DDT.
Oh.
Well,
here's the thing. If Lou is still a competent GM, this is what he would have done. He either pairs Mikhailov or Gaudreau with Barzy, trades Bailey for a fifth, and doesn't resign Cal Casey to a 2-year deal. Yeah, but he's just not all that in a bag of chips anymore. He's finished. He's finished as a GM.
Mahayev was like $4.5 million a year. Cheap, and expensive. Went for Vancouver's lighting the world on fire there.
Yep.
Oh boy, TJ, he's in a mood. Pray for Grumpy's mental sanity, says Andrew L.
You seem like you're going off the rails. Now, I will say, when it comes to Mikhailov, Phil was 100% correct on that.
He was. He was definitely right on that. Trust me, every single time he makes sure to remind me too. Hey, Phil convinced me in one league to make sure I targeted a guy like that. So I'm very thankful for that. We're so effed, says Matthew S. Rich Rosenkrantz says here, every point in the Metropolitan Division is critical, and it's only December. It's going to be a fun run come April.
Run could be over by then. Could be down to a walk. Coyotes had that 12-game road trip because they're third in the pecking order for scheduling behind ASU's men's and women's, if you can believe that, hockey programs.
Dallas tied up Carolina. They're down 4-2 now. And the Rangers win 6-3. Yeah, Carolina won in overtime. Logan is the starter, says Crawford Brad. Thank you.
There you go.
Yep. And Logan starting, because Robin Leonard's on long-term injury. Okay. Jeff Sobel says the team has some holes. Perhaps Sorokin will not be as good as what we believe he is. God almighty. Maybe the fan base over it. This is what I mean.
This Jeff,
is what I fucking mean. This is what I mean. These are not the only people. The fans are saying 5 bad games. Sorokin, maybe he's not all that he's cracked up to be.
All I'll say is, Jeff mentioned that earlier while you were going to the bathroom, and I went through it quick because I know you'd lose your mind, but he doubled down on it. So now Jeff has to listen to you again. This is what TJ's like when John Tavares left. This is the same thing.
Jesus Christ.
I can always tell when he's going off the rails. It's so easy. It's obvious.
Drew ass Grump.
I sat 2 runs behind the Islanders penalty box. Unfortunately, I got a lot of close looks at our boys. It's true, they had a lot of penalties they had to kill last night. Very true. But they were all lazy, not moving your feet penalties. I mean, Anders Lee took a penalty. He's like, damn, son. I mean, he's been terrible this year. Guys, your thoughts on the Knights throwback jerseys? I hate them.
Yeah, not a fan.
Vegas, just Vegas.
Got a comment here. And but now we got to see Casper Holmstrom. Nobody likes that.
Well, we won't see much of him. Like I said, he's a ghost out there. You never see him.
Montreal knew something when they made that trade. Absolutely, they did.
Yeah,
they absolutely did. Drew S. Grump.
Can't stand how these arenas insist on blaring music during every stoppage and play. I really don't know how anyone on the ice, coaches, officials, scorekeepers, can hear anyone talking to them.
Greg Frost says Sorokin looks like he lost his confidence, likely because of the lazy player in front of him. Maybe they are not liking the coach.
I don't think it has anything to do with the coach. I just think that it's hard. It's hard.
Lazy play in front. I would agree.
Yeah.
Thomas Rudy said, "What the fuck is with this team? A coach needs to prepare a team to play bad teams as well as good teams, and to show up and play night 2 of back-to-back games." So I assume the Islanders are looking really shitty to start the game is what that would mean.
Don't know.
Drew L says, "Damn, I made it through the whole meme. Then I sent TJ, and he still hasn't come back. What does he do? His bladder infection." Dan L with the famous baby.
This is my baby. There he is. I love that baby. He's great. I know he hasn't earned it, and the other baby's in the background, but baby in the front. I'm sorry, he takes the cake. I know he hasn't earned it, but I think Bo should be on the left wing with Barzal. Bo's speed complements Barzal's game well. Can't get any worse, right? Exactly. Cannot get any worse.
I'd like to think. That's what we'd like to think. And he said, look at this. Drew L joins in on the fun, Grump.
Also, just wanted to say, shout out to Isles Misery Rated R. Very true.
Look at all these Isles Misery Rated R. Simon Holmstrom scored last night. You rubbed Romanoff back to good. No, Holmstrom didn't play last night. Oh, he rubbed Romanoff back.
Yes, come on.
Oh, my God. I wasn't thinking that way. Greg Frost said,
Anders should not be the captain of this team. He shouldn't be the captain of anything. He shouldn't even work at Captain D's. Problem with Matthew S. says, problem with Bo has been so bad. He just ain't the guy we hoped he'd become. No, he's not. He's probably a third liner on a really good team. And he could fill that role. Skate up and down the wing, chip in the occasional goal.
And Andrea said, teacher, we're not saying Sorokin is the reason that we're losing. He's just going through a little bit of a skid, just like Shesterkin was at the beginning of the season.
You don't have to kiss TJ's ass. Tell him to shut the hell up. He's wrong.
Nobody.
The save percentage tells you all you need to know. I didn't even know the save percentage, but it's so obvious that the one guy was playing better than the other one. Shay says, Bo hasn't been good, but can we try him with Barzy and Wally? Why not? What the heck?
James F. said, Taylor Swift overrated. Yuck. T. Swift sucks, is what Shay says. Anthony R. Grump.
Can't we just realize and stop lying to each other? We're not good. We are at best a below average team. This is actually good. We need to start falling out of the race so we can start the soft rebuild. We're almost at a hard rebuild.
I don't think. Okay, we're not at that's when you take it too far. I guess
blow it up. Blow it up. If they would listen to me, we may already be back in the hunt.
Nope. Said, I don't think I've ever heard a man say, I'm a Swiftie before.
Me neither. That's kind of embarrassing.
Shay says, Hickey looks like Jess from Gilmore Girls.
I don't know. I don't watch Gilmore Girls. Sorry. Is Jess a boy or a girl? I don't know. Yesterday's game, in the words of Daffy Duck, that's despicable.
Okay, Hickey is what she said. Hold on, I'll get a picture of this Jeff guy or Jess guy.
Jess.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Grumpy guy maybe does a little bit.
Let's see. Now I'm interested.
I was about to say, we do this for everything else. Like, it didn't take me much long to pull up Jess here. Kind of maybe a little bit, Grumpy, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Jesse's got a little bit.
Younger. He's a kid.
This kid's got more hair than Hickey does.
Did you guys see that Ishikov's end-to-end goal last night? He's a legit star. Too bad Lou has no balls to call him up.
I did not see the goal, but I'm not surprised he won't call him up. Anthony Rizzi says, Grump, like you said, we were 19 points out of the race last year, and all we did was get Romanoff this offseason, really. And we are dumbfounded that we're playing like this. And Romanoff sucks, by the way. True. It has not panned out. He could have went after Gaudreau, decided not to for whatever reason. Gaudreau probably wasn't going to sign there anyway. But, they put out the lie that they were driving up the cost on players like Gaudreau. He only signed for $9 million a year. What the hell are you talking about?
It's almost like somebody was harassed that same night about an overreaction to that trade. But I guess that person has been proven correct as well. Grumpy. Yeah, Dika.
I noticed TJ reads more YouTube than Facebook comments. When Grump reads the comments, it's closer to 50-50. TJ shadow banning Isles Misery members.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Now, see, I don't know if I read Facebook or YouTube. I just look at so quickly. I look at it, and if it's a lot of the same thing, I guess kind of skip them.
I'll take this one, Grumpy. Just conveniently a YouTube comment. Robinoff reminds me of a very bad Darius Kasparaitis. All he can do is make a big hit and block some shots, but can't score. And defense is bad, says Anthony R. Anthony R. also says here, this is the way we should not trade first rounders.
Milo Brownie never trade first rounders.
TJ, you are not happily animated tonight. Long day. No, not a long day. People are trying to, they don't like what they're doing. They don't like how they're trying to move this narrative that Sorokin not playing well right now. I'm going to tell
a little story here. A little story time with TJ. Got a call from his wife today, the lovely Paige.
Sure.
And TJ took a little nap today, and there've been a whole bunch of leaves on their deck. And she went outside after working in the hospital all day. And
hold on. You're mixing up the story. This was yesterday. She did that yesterday.
Doesn't matter the day. Day's unimportant.
Okay, sure.
And she comes out and she cleans all the piles of leaves that were all over the deck.
How many leaves were there, Grumpy?
A pile. She said it was a pile.
I say about 100 metric.
It's my story. It's my story. Shut the hell up.
Oh, it's your story. Okay.
And then all the leaves are cleaned off, and TJ comes up. Oh, and she goes, because she didn't know. He didn't notice, of course. And the lovely Paige says, "Do you notice the deck? The leaves are gone." And TJ says, "Oh, the wind must have blown them all away." Because that's what happens. The deck, the leaves have been laying on the deck for weeks, just all magically blew off.
You know what this is like? This is like when you play the telephone game when you whisper in somebody's ear and say, "Purple elephant." And by the time it reaches the end of the line, you end up with Verizon Wireless. Grump, sort of the story, but not close. But it's whatever. That one works. It's entertaining anyway. Broadcast is from MSG Studios. Should be fun.
I'm not getting the Islanders feed today.
Apex Legends Senior Citizen, Grumpy.
Rouchelon wasn't in Bridgeport's lineup tonight. Maybe he was called up. Oh, wait. No. Old man Lou's the GM. He'd rather have Bailey on the power play in the second line. Lou must go.
And Drew Hell says, "Hey, D-Cut, here's a question." No, TJ, F the question. D-Cut is right, damn it. Oh, good gracious.
Wow.
James F says, "Grumpy, how about that mail carrier story? You missed it. You must have missed it."
Yeah.
Oh, James.
I told it on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show on Thursday night.
We don't want to rush through it.
Just like I promised.
Anyway, Vinny L says here, Lou should have left.
He left in Las Vegas and find his own way home. Goodbye. Thomas Rudy says, would this team have more wins under Trotz playing boring hockey? I think they had tuned out Barry Trotz, so the answer probably is no. But in the early Barry Trotz seasons, the answer would have been yes.
Drill said, Grumpy earns a certification of ultimate bandwagon. Oh, really? I like that. Yep, Joe Grumpy.
Oh. I can think of no greater insult to the NHL playoffs than this shitbag 2022 Islanders team being in the playoffs. Losing to the Coyotes twice should trigger automatic sell mode starting like now. Joe is unhappy with the direction of the team.
I think a lot are. Rich Rosenkrantz, Grump.
When Grumpy and I were kids, they only sold 5 Gertie pajamas: Dallas, Oakland, Washington, Giants, and the Jets. Whatever you parents bought for you, that's what you became a fan of. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very true.
Andrew L said, Sorokin was put in against Arizona. Varlamov played against Boston. Talk about some tough situations.
Yeah, talk about that.
The team played much better in front of Varlamov against Boston. The team played good against Boston. We played like shit yesterday against Arizona. I don't know. He's not getting any support on the defensive side of the puck or forward group. That's all. Joe Grumpy, you got another comment there for you.
The power play on this team is this bad first and foremost because our best player can't score goals for shit no matter how many men on the ice.
Must be talking about Matt Barzal, another anti-Matt Barzaler. James F says, if the Islanders win tonight, Grumpy, your 3-game prediction will be correct.
Yeah, I think they're going to lose, though.
Actually,
I think we win today.
Says Sorokin needs to step up. Last 5 games have been below his usual excellent play.
Very true.
I don't care what the analytics say. Sorokin is overrated. Making a handful. This is exactly what I mean.
Okay, Joe's a little unhappy right now.
This is what I mean, Grump.
Joe's just a little unhappy right now. Okay, Joe's just a little unhappy.
He's not the only one. And he's not the only one. He says, don't care what the analytics say, Sorokin is overrated. Making handfuls of great saves, but then letting in soft as baby shit goals does not equal a great goalie. And Freedom Front Adventure says, you're going to make me agree with TJ. Sorokin is still excellent, but the team in front of him is inconsistent, lazy, and not focused. It's been the way regardless of coaches and goalies. Get rid of Bailey, gang. Thank you, Freedom Front Adventure. I'm glad there are people who are seeing it the way I do. Clutch save by Farley there. Thank goodness he's in net tonight, TJ. Take it. Oh, good gracious. Grumpy, I'm sorry that TJ has had such a potty mouth. When your channel hits 1,000 subscribers, TJ is going to get you demonetized on the first day.
Very true. That's what's going to happen because he can't control himself. He's not a professional.
Ah, that's it. You got another commentary for you, Grumpy.
Just like Grump, I have the Center Ice package. Islander game is on 2 channels, and both channels have the Vegas feed. Maybe it's a good thing I don't have to hear Butch. It is a good thing. I just wonder why.
I tell you. Well, here's the picture, Grumpy. We've got Drew S on the board. You got to see the game. Look at there's Drew. There's Drew and Stefan.
Look at that. Should have slapped Stefan.
No, you shouldn't have done that. But I'm telling you, that's you get a little picture of the background. I mean, man, the arena looks nice. It looks small.
It's small. Small arenas are great.
I was about to say that would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Absolutely. I want to go to an Arizona game, and not necessarily against the Islanders because I have a rooting interest. Shay says, if we get Besser, then put Clutterbuck on long-term injury. He's always hurt anyways, although it's Lou, so I doubt it.
TJ had to end the podcast with some annual meme or some daily memes that you send me. I'll have to look at those. Grumpy, Nick D. Let's keep reading. I'll get this pulled
up. Is the couch going to the Smithsonian, Grumpy? No, it's not.
It sold it to UBS. What? You sold it? You sold it to the Islanders?
Sold it. Not to the Islanders. I've been so unlucky in fantasy football, I've given up. Sorry, Declan.
I agree with Grump. Lou is done.
Done. Watch. James Farrell says, watch Lou will trade Sorokin for Mo Horvat. Not even Bo. Mo Horvat. Just to please those Sorokin haters.
Jesus.
Not even Bo. Mo Horvat.
Dan L.
Gilmore Girls seems right up your alley. My wife watches LA. Such a crappy show. I know the girl. What the hell's her name? I can't remember her name. She was in the show Parenthood too. Oh my gosh, what is this? TJ, after we mentioned the word Sorokin, Vezina hopes over in the same sentence.
Hold on a second. I know this clip. It's a funny little clip, but let me lower it so it's not loud. Hold on. You've seen it on this show.
I don't watch anything.
Never seen it. Never seen it. You've seen it on the show multiple times.
Never seen it.
Christ almighty.
It's never been a hello, puppy. My puppy.
Good gracious there. Hold on, Grumpy. You need your attention so you can watch the clip.
Boy, I'm watching. Puppy's right here looking.
And that entire video is a good one.
Little dog Z is here right now. He's so cute and charming. He really is. Okay. What a wonderful little fellow.
Angel said Varlamov just made a beauty save. Suck it, TJ.
Suck it, TJ. Suck it, TJ.
Declan F said, oh, TJ, you see that Varley robbery? I'm not watching the game right now. He's shutting you up right now. Okay, he must be doing great then. Good. Varley just made a big glove save, says James F. Drew says, where's Tony Cheese? Where's Tony Cheese?
Probably making a pizza.
Probably making a pizza there. D-Cut says, first star in tonight's first period, Varley. Keep the commie on the bench, TJ. Oh God. And there goes our power play. The ballerina with a lazy hooking penalty. John Smith said, this game sucks already. The Islanders are playing like shit. Stefan wearing a dad's jacket, I guess. Yeah, he's got the old man jacket on, I guess.
It did look like a big coat.
Drill said, all right, Grumpy, next time I see Stefan, I'm going to give him the nice run of the hands and then slap box. Oh, no, because you said beat him or punch him now.
Stefan's really good. He's a really nice kid. Nice kid.
Yeah. Andrew L says Dog Z appearance question mark.
Dog Z's sitting right over here. I'd like him to come over here, but he's resistant at this point in time.
Why don't you pretend there's some food in your hand? So come right over there.
Come here, boy. Let me see. I'll show a little picture of Dog Z. Where is he? There he is. Look, you puppy. There he is. He's a little sweetheart, that boy. We love him to death.
He's a freaking troublemaker, that thing.
He is a troublemaker, but we love him anyway.
Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I know we wanted to have things wrapped up before the first period began, but I don't even know. Are we in the second period of the game? Still in the first period? I don't know.
2:22 to go in the first period.
Okay, well, no better time than now. Grumpy, we are here at the end of the show. Is Sun X is next? Question mark.
Sun X he has agreed to join the show at some point in time. He absolutely has. He's getting his gear that he's going to need to be on the show. But yes, Sun X is going to bring a different kind of energy to the show when he does come on. That much is for certain.
D-Cut says, Rosner over that spineless midget gross any day. Oh, good gracious. A little behind the scene of Grumpy's place.
Actually, the place is in total disarray right now because, like I said, I'm moving all our furniture out for new furniture, so everything's kind of all over the place.
Nick D says, Vesna goes
to Goalie.
Oh, there it is. Goon says, did Dog Z bring in any mud or dirt tonight, or is he as clean as he can be?
He's actually not half bad tonight, but he makes a freaking mess. He drinks, and it's like, I don't know, it's like he's got all the water in his mouth, and as he walks, he just, wherever he goes, it's like all over the place. He's disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, but
I love him to death, but he's disgusting.
And Andrew L says, Sorokin is a bust. Trade him immediately. Varlamov is the future.
Goal for the New York Islanders. Go up 1-0 with a minute to go in the first period.
He says Lee finally does something. Lee, oh my God, Lee just scored. Can't spell Varley without the V and the A. Vesna without the V and the A and Varley. Lee scored. Says
Rich that didn't even go in. It just went wide. Let's see what Lee did here.
D-Cut says re-sign Varley.
Nice
trade
shot.
Sorokin.
That was a nice shot by Lee. Top corner. Very nice shot.
Andrew L said that should keep Lee on the first line for a few more years.
Yeah, very
Declan said Lee scored, laughed my ass off. I think the Islanders will listen to the podcast.
That's true.
God. Average finds a way to score.
Yeah, he's like, first goal I scored, gosh, and who knows how long.
1-0 means Italy. Remember last night? Yeah.
That's true.
Don't bring us back to earth, Goon. We can be happy, just a little bit of happiness. But Grump, man, we're here at the end of the show. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
Can you hear Dog Z eating over here?
Yeah, a little bit.
He doesn't eat at Son X's house. He does not eat there.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. He comes here. All he does is eat and drink and piss and shit and shed.
There it is.
A ruckus.
There it is. I do hear him eating, though. 30G says, wow, they're caught up in the comments. I know. We finally did it. Greg Frost said the garbage man
strikes. Yeah.
And then James F said, Grumpy old man.
And that was a good shot. That was a good shot. Give him credit.
I smell a Farley shutout in the distance. Matthew S. It's great show, guys. Thanks as always, man. Grumpy, what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show. We'll be live tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could find that either in the link in the description below or as a featured page on our YouTube channel. The next time we'll be going live talking Islanders will be this upcoming Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until tomorrow, 8 p.m., because I know everybody's going to tune in to the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show. Until tomorrow at 8 p.m., I hope you've got a great Saturday evening ahead of you and a great Sunday day. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. And back at it again Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you again, as always, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.